15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Lots still to unpack with, my Bills, the Commanders, look ahead, Philadelphia Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, Perloff, but we have a lot of time for that. The Dallas Cowboys introduced their head coach yesterday, so stop the presses. And this one was bizarre, even by Cowboys standards. Good morning.
Well, is it though? Like, if we went back to the 2008 hiring of Dave Campo, would it be the same thing? We've seen this Cowboys hire before. I guess Jerry is just talking about things in a different way, right?
Yeah, I'm not saying the hire was bizarre.
Yeah, okay.
I'm talking about everything else that happened yesterday. And we're going to get to it all. So, yes, Brian Schottenheimer was introduced yesterday as the new head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. They are coining a phrase. Jerry was in major salesman mode yesterday. But they are coining a phrase now, Perloff, continuity through change.
Wait, what?
Yeah. It's like, did a PR firm come up with this? I don't know. Maybe they think this is their brainchild. But continuity through change is something that I heard no less than 15 or 16 times yesterday. So I don't know what that really means. I'm not sure how Brian Schottenheimer is supposed to pull this off, but continuity through change sounds like some BS, like corporate mumbo jumbo, and that's what they're going to try to tell you. The Brian Schottenheimer continues. This is for Dak Prescott, although they didn't specifically come out and say that, but said he was certainly at the top of mind to keep things similar for Dak, and then, but to also have a new voice in the room that's not Mike McCarthy.
But it's not a new voice in the room.
Well, they will tell you that.
Make it make sense, Maggie.
You want me to make the Joneses make sense? Come on. All I do is host a sports talk radio show. I'm not God. You know, I can't make something make sense that doesn't make sense. Let's hear from the people in charge. Jerry Jones, let's hear right off the top, right off the rip, Manny. He knows the caliber of who Brian Schottenheimer is as a coach.
We know what osmosis is, and we know what Schotty grew up around. Not just from that, but we knew, frankly, from the standpoint of Schotty, those X hairs crossed. Schotty might never have been in our mirror or in our view had he not joined us to be with Mike as a consultant 3 years ago, and it has been a coach.
Right, so he is in the building. Started as the consultant, then the OC, was not calling plays, obviously. Mike McCarthy was doing that. He will be calling plays this time around. And, you know, there are new concepts that they want to put into the offense. They talked a lot about going up-tempo. It's the Dallas Cowboys.
Brian Schottenheimer's going up-tempo?
That's what he said. He also said the run game. He was proud to have had, the top run game in the league 2 different years as a coordinator. Of course.
That I hear, but up-tempo.
Up-tempo, he called that. He said it's like playing pickup basketball.
Yeah. Lets
the guys play a little bit freer. So talked a little about what his style is going to be and how it's going to change a little bit. And then also talked about culture. What I was also, I noticed yesterday, I was not surprised, is everyone was getting pretty choked up.
Why?
Well, let's hear from Jerry. Getting choked up at in discussing, his ability to find a coach and how many people he consulted. This really hit him hard.
So I've seen it when I was a pup. I have a good background in the makeup of what a coach is. To think that you could make a decision in an interview and not have talked, if you didn't and hadn't ever communicated or had a visit, I wouldn't dare have had an interview unless I talked to many, many people.
I don't understand why that was so emotional. Like, you're Jerry Jones. You talk to everybody in the league, according to you. We can all buy that. That's not a stretch. I think Jerry Jones does talk to tons of people in the league. What about that made him emotional? I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever know.
Well, he's 82. Maybe he thinks this is my last new coach press conference, something along those lines. Like, that's really dark. I can't believe I just said that. But
it's supposed to be a happy day. You got a new head coach. Even Manny couldn't think of something that grim.
It's something sentimental. Yeah, I mean, I think at this point of his life, it's time to look back about everything he's done. It's definitely like sentimental with a capital S.
Almost every question that he answered started with, well, when I bought the Dallas Cowboys, it was all about looking back. A lot of it was about looking back. Not all. A lot of it was about looking back. I understand why Brian Schottenheimer was emotional. Talked a lot about his dad. Legendary head coach Marty Schottenheimer passed away in 2021. They were super close. Finally becoming a head coach, following in the footsteps of your dad. He called him his best friend, said he's finally going to win for his dad, all of that stuff. That I get being emotional. Hell, that got to me a little bit. It's like, I can respect that. I'm not totally cold-hearted. That's pretty cool. I didn't get why Jerry was emotional, but maybe you hit it.
I totally get it. I have relatives who get like this.
Weepy?
Yeah, I mean.
During the good times?
Yeah, well, not even during the good times. When it's time to look back on what people were like as kids, yeah, definitely. Like, this is an emotional stage of life. Honestly, you know this. Haven't you ever been around a grandparent?
Yeah, I'm around them all the time.
Yeah, they don't get overly emotional thinking about the old days.
But I mean, the old days, I guess today's about Brian Schottenheimer, though. And see, that's the thing about the Cowboys. It's never about anyone else. It's only about them. And that's part of it. I think their Cowboy fans want to tear their hair out. It's not about your origin story, Jer. Today, no disrespect, it's actually about the future of the organization. We have all this time. There's a 10-part Jerry Jones documentary coming out at some point. We have all the time in the world to build a statue for you, which I'm sure there'll be multiple outside of that facility. But isn't it about what are you going to do for me now? That's why people, I think, were so baffled by the Brian Schottenheimer hire. It's like, how does this usher in this new era when you've been in the building for the last 3 years?
Well, he's saying he's ushering a new era. He obviously is not. He's been really focused on the past over the last several months. How many times has he talked about the Jimmy Johnson thing?
Brought that up yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, over the last 3 months, he's really been talking about the 90s even more than usual. I mean, he always talks about the 90s, but it's been sort of, maybe it's because there's a documentary coming out. I didn't even know that. He's been in a nostalgia tour the last month. It was going back when everything was falling apart with Mike McCarthy. He started talking about the 90s again. The guy's looking backwards. I mean, he might say I'm looking forward, but all the things you're saying point out he's clearly focused on the past, which is not good. Of course this is not good for the Cowboys.
Well, I think part of it is probably to deflect from the fact that you have two NFC East teams who are playing for the NFC Championship in the NFC Championship game. Your Philadelphia Eagles are on the way to the Super Bowl, and this long, sustained drought, which Stephen Jones addressed yesterday. Now, you're listening to us and not watching on YouTube or Twitch. The use of the air quotes was liberal here. Just know Stephen Jones using air quotes around the word drought.
You always have to evaluate, where it didn't go right last year. And obviously we're also evaluating where it didn't go right, in terms of, this drought that people say we're in terms of a championship game or a Super Bowl. And, we just have to continue to make this roster better.
Okay, that's not what those air quotes are for. The drought isn't like a supposed drought. It's like, this is fact. These are just facts. Undeniable, unassailable. I know sometimes we get lost in this country. What's a fact? What's not a fact? This one is a fact. Cowboys have not been back even to an NFC Championship game since 95. That's just a fact. No air quotes. It's not. You don't air quote that.
I guess Steven does.
You got to understand. It is a drought. It's not air quotes drought. It's drought.
So let me ask you a question. Like, what does this all amount to? Is there any chance that this drought ends?
I went into this with a real open mind. I really tried to. Because, sometimes, like, it's the coaching hire maybe that you least expect. Your Philadelphia Eagles, I don't think we're planning to hire Doug Peterson. A couple years later, what happens? He's winning a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. I think sometimes you can, I want to say back into something, but sometimes you can find the guy when you're least expecting it, or you end up making a prudent hire. So I wanted to go into this thinking, all right, take Cowboys away from it. Say it's any other organization, and they decide to go with a guy with 27 years of assistant coach experience, someone who said, I wasn't ready when I was younger. I'm ready now. I've got all of this experience. My dad was a legendary coach. I grew up in it. It's all I know. It's all I ever wanted to do. Would I give that person the benefit of the doubt? And then I started listening to the press conference, and I'm going to be honest with you. It was emotional at times for Brian Schottenheimer. I was not overly impressed. He said all the same things that all these other guys say. They talk about family and culture and leadership. It's all the same. There is not one unique moment that he had yesterday. Now, there was a funny moment, and I'll take cut 28, where after Brian Schottenheimer makes his opening remarks, Pearl, and goes through the whole family and culture and all that, Jerry Jones gets the first question.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. This is for Jerry and Stephen. Why did you pick Brian Schottenheimer? What was it about him that you guys felt like he was the right fit for you guys?
Can we count how many seconds of silence that was? I think it was like 8. I think we were at like a standing 8 count. That's the biggest layup question that you're going to get in this press conference. Why this guy?
I just highlighted it's 8.1 seconds.
8.1 seconds. And then Jerry went on to talk for 11 straight minutes about himself.
Apologies to Westwood One, who thinks we were in dead air just now.
Yes, not the affiliates. Don't worry. The connection's fine. Yeah, nothing about this was really impressive. There was a touching moment when they're talking about Marty Schottenheimer, no doubt. And any person would understand that. But no, I was not overly impressed. And I wanted to be.
Well, the issue is this. The issue is the same thing we always known. It's Jerry Jones is overwhelming. He wasn't going to hire somebody he had 2 choices to make a total reset. He could have hired Bill Belichick or maybe Deion Sanders. Mm-hmm. He just said there's no way he was going to do that. So why would we expect different results from the same thing over and over? I mean, the Cowboys are going to be somewhere between mediocre and good for the rest of this Jones run, right? Because that's unless they're going to totally give up control of the football side, there's no way this is going to change. So It didn't really matter what Brian Schottenheimer said in the press conference.
No, there is no giving up. There is only a doubling down.
Yeah.
They think that they've been successful over the past 3 years. And if you want to, or I guess 5, if you want to go by the 3 seasons with 12 wins, then sure, if that's your measuring stick for success. But they think they've got it here.
That's what the air quotes are for, Maggie.
The success?
Well, they've always think they got it. They are delusional. When these owners get all this money, like they think that they're going to figure out. And the reality is there's 32 teams and only one of them can win the Super Bowl. It's tough. But, yeah, of course, they're going to continue down the same road. The Schottenheimer hire makes perfect sense, right? Like, why should we be surprised by that? You said it was a surprising hire. It actually would have been surprising if they'd done something else.
Well, Deion, maybe Belichick would have been surprising. And by the way, Jerry said yesterday about Deion, I don't need to interview Deion. I know Deion. It's like, okay, well. And he said he seemed pretty happy where he was.
Belichick wouldn't have been surprising. They've been linked to Belichick for 2 years.
Yeah, but Belichick would have been that would have been, now you're cleaning out some guys from the front office. Now you got somebody telling Jerry what to do and Steven what to do. So in some ways, I think that would have been surprising.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be a totally radical hire. I mean, he's a kind of a retread. I think every team looked at him. The guy interviewed with the Atlanta Falcons last year. So, but generally, I think that none of that was going to happen with Jerry. Like we keep fooling ourselves. We're doing that thing. Well, why are we fooling ourselves and thinking the Cowboys are going to try something different when they never, ever do? It's 30 years, air quotes. It's 30 years of the same. And it's going to be another 30 years if Jerry has his say.
Yeah, 855-212-4227. Yeah, it was a doozy yesterday. It was a real, Jones spectacular, was it not? The overselling, the convincing you of something that's not really true. I don't know how he describes this as a risky hire.
Risky because he's not qualified?
Well, I mean, I'd hope he'd
Facts.
be qualified. 27 years as an assistant coach.
Well, I think that was Jerry's argument. He's like, well, this guy is risky. Nobody wanted him. Nobody in the league thought he could be a good head coach. But that's why it's risky. I mean, all the evidence points to total failure. But, like, what's the upside? And the other thing, too, is he said, I didn't see the live where Schottenheimer talked about the run game. I mean, Schottenheimer has made more fans pull their heads out by running on first and second down than any coach in the modern NFL. So he is like, anybody who actually had Schottenheimer in the building knows that it can be a frustrating experience.
Yeah, how funny would that be? It's like, it's a risk because no one else wanted this guy.
And Schottenheimer is the opposite of risky as an offensive coordinator. He's boring and slow, and he guts the quarterback by passing only on third down. I feel bad on that part.
Here's Jerry talking about how hiring Brian Schottenheimer was a risk.
Now, I get my proverbial ass kicked over needing people in my comfort zone. If you don't think I can't operate out of my comfort zone, you're so wrong. It's unbelievable. This is as big a risk as you could take. As big a risk as you could take. No head coaching experience. You've just heard him reference his osmosis, his family. Anybody in this room that doesn't believe the apple doesn't go far from the tree has missed it someplace down the road.
Yeah, hold for applause.
Wow, he's right about Steven is exactly like Jerry. Probably is that's actually a fact.
Talking from experience with his own kids, I mean, how many times have we seen the offspring, the progeny, not the same as the real thing?
Yeah.
You know, the facsimile, the next generation sometimes is not as awesome as the OG. Sometimes we see they're even better. Who knows?
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan was good. I'm probably not better than Mike Shanahan, but you're right.
I mean,
generally, it's kind of hard to tell in the NFL. A lot of kids, a lot of great players are coaches' sons. I mean,
I just think it's funny that this is where you have to so sell everybody that you are a risk taker and try to flip it like this is evidence of such a thing. Anyway, so
he might as well just come out and say, listen, you guys think I'm not risky. I just made a bad coaching hire. That not risky?
Yeah, it's like I cheaped out on a coach. And you guys get to watch it every Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, his logic makes sense. I hired a coach that no team in their right mind would hire, but I hired him.
And then he starts talking about nobody believed him when he bought the Dallas Cowboys. It's like, enough.
Oh, yeah. No, he's obsessed with firing Tom Landry and hiring Jimmy Johnson, which makes it even funnier that he fired Jimmy Johnson.
I know. It's like, I've been going off my gut for years. It's like, yup, we know. And it's been 30 years since you got to the place the Washington Commanders were just at.
Wow, that was a stray bullet for the Washington Commanders.
I'm just saying. It's like, it's hard. It's not impossible. You know? It's been 30 years. It's not impossible. Every other team in the NFC has done it. Literally everyone.
The Commanders.
855-212-4227. Yesterday was like press conference palooza. Brian Schottenheimer, Pete Carroll, Aaron Glenn, Liam Cohen. I mean, all over the place.
Wow, you're really selling that.
I'm just telling you what
happened.
happened.
Wow, it was Aaron Glenn and Liam Cohen's press conference day. The only day better than Conference Championship Sunday is the Jags annual introducing a new coach.
Yeah, that one.
And the Jets.
Yeah, Jags, Jets, Raiders. These are some familiar faces.
Yeah. We're kind of, you put that on the schedule for next year, too.
Yeah, 855-212-4227. Brian Schottenheimer. I'm telling you, I went in with an open mind. If it had been like blind resumes, I think I would have liked it, but I didn't hear anything different. I really didn't. I heard more of the same. It's like, why are you the right guy? Why are you the right person for the job?
Wait,
relationships.
What do you want to hear, Maggie?
Yeah, could you have heard something that would make you think the Cowboys were going to be different? Was there words that could have come out of his mouth that would have changed your mind on the Cowboys?
Listen, I think maybe the press conference, can times be overrated. Sure. Like, it's a very curated thing. I just wanted to hear, I have a vision for this team, and this is how my vision is different than Mike McCarthy's. But that's not what.
But those would just be empty words until you actually saw it in action. It's kind of hard. It's a little hard to really prove anything in this situation. He's got to show it on the practice field and then on the playing field next year.
This is the other thing that maybe I would want to have heard. And again, I got the getting choked up about Marty Schottenheimer. I absolutely respect that, and he had clearly had a close relationship with his dad. I also want to hear someone say, my dad was such a huge influence on me, and here are the ways that I'm like him, and here are the ways I'm totally different. And here are the ways that I'm my own man. Because I think that sometimes, like he talked a lot about, and this is the way the Schottenheimers do it, and the Joneses and the Schottenheimers are these two great American football families, and X, Y, and Z. And, if I'm a Cowboy fan, I don't care about that. I love that you love your dad and you got influenced by him, but Marty Schottenheimer is not walking through that door. So I need to know, how are you your own person? Because now you're running the show. You're not really, Jerry is, but let's just pretend. Now you're running the show. So how are you going to be different from your dad? And I think that's something that all probably kids of famous people and rich people and stuff have to figure out for themselves. And I think it's really hard. So I would have leaned into that a little bit more if I were him. Like, this is how I'm different than that. This is what I took from my dad, and this is how I'm my own person.
You did mention though that Marty's death was kind of recent. Could he have? I don't know if that was possible.
2021.
In 2025, this is probably still a little fresh for him.
Yeah, he had Alzheimer's. Have you ever seen interviews? But Marty talked about it a lot.
Yeah,
it's really powerful.
And their relationship was really awesome.
Yeah, I wonder if this was Brian getting hired in 2015. Maybe you do get more of that person. I don't know if you get that person with that sentimental aspect in play there.
Still too fresh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care. Abraham Lincoln could have delivered the Gettysburg Address. When your running back's 36 years old, you're not winning NFL games.
It's a personnel thing.
Yeah. Like, I don't care who's walking that door. Is DeMarvion Overshawn going to get mysteriously healthy next year? Talk to me about what's happening here. Jerry built this team. I don't care who's coaching it. This is Jerry's team. That's the problem.
Man, did I also mention that the Pittsburgh Steelers owner at the podium yesterday? We got so much to do. 855-212-4227. And we still have a lot from Conference Championship Sunday, Pearl. The sun did rise.
Yeah. How you feeling?
Confirm. A new feeling has set in. I'll tell you about that next. 855-212-4227. Okay. Maggie and Perloff, lots to do. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Maggie, a little bit disappointed with the Dallas Cowboys press conference. I'm not surprised. I did not expect fireworks. They hired Brian Schottenheimer, their offensive coordinator of a team that wasn't that great on offense, and a guy who famously is conservative. So this is as safe a hire, I guess, for the Joneses, somebody they're super comfortable with. Not surprised at all. Maggie, you were holding out hope, but I think that hope is quickly dwindling. And to your credit, you've always said the Cowboys just want to be relevant, not win a Super Bowl. I think this kind of fits that mold.
I guess. Here's where it might be. I'm not going to say entertaining, but here's where it could be a little different. Can we hear the cut of Brian Schottenheimer talking about how, his dad, Marty, was a legendary coach, Pearl, who also was like a bit emotional, right? Like Marty Schottenheimer, like you'd get tears sometimes. Like Dick Vermeil was a guy, you'd get some tears. Marty Schottenheimer, you get some tears. And Brian Schottenheimer said he's going to do the same thing.
That, as you guys will learn from me, the Schottenheimers tend to be criers. And that just means we show our emotions.
I'm waiting. We're not getting crying after games, right? I don't know. Anyway, there were a lot of things that stood out to me, but.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be same old, until the Joneses let go of the football side.
Okay, but here, keeping things similar for Dak Prescott, it's not the worst idea I've ever heard. Keeping continuity for your quarterback that you just gave $60 million to, it's not like it's not an egregious thing to do. It's not horrible.
I think 31 out of 32 owners would have requested a Ben Johnson interview, and they did not. I think it's pretty egregious.
I mean, they probably knew they had no shot at Ben Johnson. Do you
Why
think?
not? Of course they had a shot at Ben Johnson. Why would they have not had a shot at Ben Johnson? Ben Johnson almost took the Raiders job. It's the worst job in the NFL.
Well, he interviewed for the Raiders.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was ever taking that job.
He took the Bears job.
Well, but I think he had been linked to the Bears for a while.
Yeah, but if he could have gotten down to the warm weather and inside with Dallas, you don't think that would be tempting? Of course they could have had a shot at Ben Johnson.
Josh is in Dallas. Josh, what's the vibes on the ground over Brian Schottenheimer?
We're not buying it.
Yeah.
We haven't bought it in the last 10 years. It's the same old selling point that he thinks we're delusional just like him. And we're not buying it. You look at the other franchises here in DFW, and you say the Rangers. Anybody know who the owner of the Texas Rangers are? I mean, maybe here in the DFW, but not a lot of people in the national media. And they saw that we weren't having success in 110-degree heat every summer outdoors. What do they do? Build a brand-new stadium, change the culture, brought players in, and win a World Series. Same thing with the Stars. Nobody knows who the Stars owner is because they just don't care. They just put the team out there on the ice, and they win. What does Jones do? Do we need to put shades on the west side of our stadium? Yes, but are we going to? No, because we're the Joneses, and we just want to do what we want to. We don't care about winning. Even though they say they're going to change the culture, but they don't even just put shades up on the stadium. So
yeah,
I'll hang up.
It's a great point. It's a great point. Yeah. They say they're all in on everything to win, but something as silly as not blinding your receivers when you play 4 o'clock games after daylight savings time, well, that feels like too much of an ask.
Yeah.
All in.
Right. So, Josh, thank you for bringing that up.
I like his point, too, about how we don't know owners of some great teams. Honestly, we do know Clark Hunt and we do know Jeffrey Lurie of the Eagles and the Chiefs, but you don't get the sense that they're poking their head into the football side of it. So I think he's really onto something. Like interventionist, it seems like this theme of interventionist owners are a problem.
Oh, definitely. They have been forever.
Yeah, and nothing changed in that regard in Dallas.
No, but I'm a huge fan of Ray Davis, who I just Googled is the owner of the Texas Rangers. I thought George Bush owns part of the Texas Rangers, the former president.
That's
George H.W.
That was a long time ago. Wasn't that before the presidency?
But is he not part of the organization anymore?
I thought he had to sell it when.
Do you have to divest yourself?
You're telling me, by the way, did you say Ray Davis?
I don't think that's happening now.
Ray Davis owns the Rangers?
That's what a goal.
And he is the second string running back for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I was confused when you said
that. Great rookie season.
I mean, that guy is tough as nails.
Remember, he was living out of his car. Great story, too.
Maggie got over that Chiefs loss real quick. Man, I love Ray Davis.
I do love Ray Davis. Ty Johnson, James Cook. You guys, we basically did 4 hours on James Cook yesterday.
Ty Johnson is explosive. Where was he on Sunday, though?
Great point.
No, he had a couple nice plays. But anyway, regardless, Ray Davis, congratulations.
Also, owner of the Dallas Stars, quick Google search, Tom Gagliardi. So congrats to you on the millions and billions, sir.
Yeah, and he made his money, of course, because he built the Washington basketball franchise for all that money many years ago.
Gagliardi?
What?
Yeah. Oh, that's Tom Gugliotta.
Gugliotta. Goog's totally different.
Nobody got that joke, Bogus? You were around for the Tom Gugliotta
wasn't a joke, and I made a Goog reference, I think, 2 days ago.
Yeah, good. Okay, well,
that was not a good one.
All right, I was looking at you to help me out there. That was close enough.
No thanks.
Also, you said Washington basketball team.
Yeah.
I was like, do you want to say Bullets?
Gagliardi, president of a basically massive hotel and restaurant chain. Good work if you can get in. I did not know about the other Dallas owners.
I couldn't remember if Googs was on the Bullets or the Wizards, actually. That's why I said I kind of like the Washington football team.
He was a Bullet.
But did he go for both?
No, I think he was gone before they switched.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was only a Bullet.
Yeah. Are we doing a deep dive on Tom Gugliotta's career?
I got his number. You want to call him?
Dude.
What is he awake? Is he on the East Coast?
Oh, probably that's a good call.
Call Mike Breen.
We could do that too.
Call Breen, and when he picks up, be like, hey, do you have Tom Gugliotta's number?
Oh, definitely.
His new number?
He'll be like, lose my number, folks.
All right, headlines. What's up?
These headlines sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs for protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. Thank God Caleb Love is in year 7 of college basketball.
Del Orso running the line. Get it off to Love. Love, midcourt. Shot is up. Good! Love has hit a 3. We're going to overtime. From backcourt, Caleb Love has just tied this game at 71. Bedlam at McHale.
That's from Learfield. Love was once Vince Carter's point guard of North Carolina. Now he's forcing OT for Arizona against third-ranked Iowa State. The Wildcats rolled from there, winning 86-75. Love was 1 for 10 from 3 before that shot from shy of midcourt.
Obviously, it wasn't going my way throughout the game, and you got to trust your work. Stay confident in your work. Stay confident in yourself, and it ain't over till it's over.
Sounds like a man with 4 degrees. This is the first time since 1979
So to quote Aristotle,
my good friend, first time since 79 that Arizona beat a top 5 team while they were unranked. Number 2, Duke, a second-half rally to beat NC State, 74-64. Cooper Flagg scored 23 of his 28 after halftime. Women's number 2, South Carolina, with a 70-63 win. At number 18, Tennessee, the Gamecocks' winning streak is now 15. Auburn and UCLA remain atop their respective polls this week. The Auburn men, a unanimous number 1 for the second straight time. The Vanderbilt women, number 23 this week, the first time they're ranked since February of 2014.
Damn.
The Charlotte Hornets put last night's game with the Lakers on free over-the-air local TV in the Carolinas for the first time since the 07-08 season. Maybe they could attract some new fans. Or maybe this happens.
AD back to LeBron. LeBron back to AD. Elevates, turns, 10-foot fall away. Why not?
Geez.
21 first quarter points for Anthony Davis.
I thought he didn't like playing center. See how easy it looks for him?
Hey, guys, we're playing a game. It's on your TV for free, and we're down 20 after 1. That was John Ireland and Michael Thompson on Lakers radio. Anthony Davis finished with 42 points, 23 rebounds in this 112-107 Laker win. Giannis and Damian Lillard each scored 35 in the Bucks' 125-110 win in Utah. Domantas Sabonis, 21 points, 22 boards, 10 assists. The Kings won in Brooklyn, 110-96. And the Heat erased a 14-point fourth-quarter hole, then beat the Magic in double OT, 125-119, all after they suspended Jimmy Butler for a third time, this one indefinitely because Butler walked out of shoot-around yesterday after being told he was out of the starting 5.
Heat culture, guys.
it's just like, just keep walking, Jimmy. The problem with this, brouhaha, if you will, is that nobody cares. I think that's a real problem. To pull these kind of hijinks, like when Jimmy did this in Minnesota and stuff like that, Philadelphia, whatever, people cared because Jimmy Butler is great. And it's not that he can't be great again, I guess, but I don't think people really believe that he's worth all of this trouble at this point.
But when is the trade deadline? It's
February 6th.
Yeah.
So is that next
Thursday?
So it's always when we're at Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So why they got to stop this shit? Just can't they trade him? Do they have to wait till Thursday? I guess they do to get the best deal. By the way, if I'm a contender, I want him. I don't care.
Well, I think that's the problem with why nobody cares is that it seems like no good teams want him. Like,
what are you going to trade?
Yeah, like the Suns aren't doing anything. The Warriors aren't doing anything.
Wait, the Suns don't want him?
Oh, they want him. I'm saying that those aren't good teams I just named is my point.
Oh.
So, like,
are they a Jimmy Butler away?
Right. If it's, I mean, even the Lakers are way ahead of the standings than those teams. Like, if it was one of these other teams that have a chance to win a championship, I think we'd say, okay, this is an interesting saga going on.
And KC's not calling.
He wants to go to teams that are mid.
Yeah.
Suns are 24-21. You added Jimmy Butler second half. I mean, the Mavs weren't good at this point last year, and they got caught fire. It's possible. It's not out of the realm.
I mean, I don't know. I've watched the Suns. They look lost. They don't look like, and maybe he's the spark, maybe, but they look very far away to me.
See, I don't want to bring him in because I think he's going to blow my organization up next. I don't trust him. And it's not, I'm not trying to put other people's business, like he's not James Harden, he's not, Kevin Durant or whatever, but I don't want him coming in and messing up my culture.
Yeah, but he's come in, he's done this transition 3 or 4 times, and it's mostly worked.
Yeah, but this is getting really bad, and he's much older now, and he's injured.
The older part is the only issue. Like, I don't mind him blowing up his last team. That formula is fine.
I don't love it.
Why? He blows up bad teams and comes to good teams, and I like it. I still would like Jimmy Butler, and I disagree with EJ. I think you can turn things around now in the NBA really fast, like radically fast.
I just don't understand, why didn't they just suspend him indefinitely like 2.5 weeks ago? Is there a union thing?
Well, I mean, like the NFL ends up sometimes with guys who are misbehaving like this. Like they have an agreement, like, okay, just stay home.
Right.
And
Commissioner's
we'll keep paying
exempt list or whatever.
Why can't they just do that with him? Just like figure out a way to just like, don't even stop with this, the fits and starts. Just stay home. We're trying to trade you. If we can't by that day, then we'll figure things out from there.
Right.
I'd like to see something more creative by Jimmy Butler. I feel like we're
What, a parachute?
well,
Like,
we're
he's done everything.
We're well-worn territory. Yeah, come up with something new to get out of a team.
Apparently, he made the team wait for him for hours at the airport last time. So, like, he's...
Oh, I thought that you told us that the team actually told him the wrong time for the flight on purpose.
I was relaying a tweet that was unclear from a Miami Heat beat writer, but apparently they were, like, waiting for him. He refused to go to the plane. So he's getting creative. And
do you want him to, like,
Holding up a
parasail
plane
into the
I don't know.
into the facility?
Listen, we have 8 more days of this. I want to see some fireworks. Is that too much to ask for?
I mean, you might get actual fireworks that
I wanna
spell out
see-
"trade me."
I want to see video of Ben Simmons wearing sweatpants with a phone in his pocket at practice. I want to see something new. Him walking out of a practice. It's been going on for a decade.
I mean, to be fair, if you were told that Hayward Highsmith was going to be taking your starting spot, I would also probably want to step out and leave too.
Oh. Hayward Highsmith probably did some damage against the Knicks in the playoffs one time.
That literally never happened.
855-212.
For the Sixers, bro.
Oh, here we go.
You root for the Sixers. Anyway.
855-212-4227. Still football season, guys. We get to the Raiders. Amazing moment yesterday during Pete Carroll's introductory press conference. And once you find out who was behind this amazing moment, it just makes it that much sweeter. We get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
As I've seen Raider fans in quite some time. I mean, I thought all the care has been kind of beaten out of you for over the last couple of years, Perloff. Like, Raider fans have had it pretty bad. Pete Carroll was a breath of fresh air at the ripe old age of 72.
Mm-hmm.
He looks great.
Yeah, definitely.
Sounded awesome. I mean, was it a lot of the same coach kind of speak? Sure. Like, we were in press conference mode yesterday. But with Pete Carroll, you believe it. When he's like, I've been through the ups, I've been through the downs, I know what it takes to turn around a program. It's like, yes, I can look to all the places you went and took a team much like the Raiders right now. Didn't have a lot of identity, didn't have a lot of winning, and actually did turn them into a contender. Now, the one difference that Carroll said yesterday, and he's absolutely right about this, is that he doesn't have the kind of time that he enjoyed at both USC and with the Seahawks.
Because of his age?
I think because of the expectations of Tom Brady and now of ownership, but mostly I think of Brady. I mean, he was talking about goes to USC, goes to Seattle, was able to take 3-4 years to build his culture and to really get his, make sure his ethos sort of infiltrated the building. He said this, I don't have that kind of time. We don't have that kind of time. Let's hear from Pete Carroll about the timeline and the urgency to turn around the Raiders.
You all wondering about timelines and all that. It took us a few years to get to the very top of the last couple programs I was with. We're starting right now, going for it immediately. We don't have some timeline. We got to make it 5 or 6 years down the road. That's not what we're thinking. We're going to start right now to go after it and build this team as quickly as we can.
Yeah, and he even says, Max Crosby, you're in the back. We're going to need you, like basically out there recruiting other free agents to try to get on board. My question is, can he make good on this?
Well, that seems like, by the way, and is that the right approach? I think that's another question. I mean, this team is probably one of the bottom 3 rosters in the NFL. Like, of course you need 3 years. Like, and you're in the hardest division in the NFL. I mean, it's a no-brainer. There's no doubt you're going to need 3 or 4 years at minimum. That even seems. And by the way, he's 72. He could easily put in good 3 or 4 years. What does he expect to win this year? I feel like the smart thing obviously be to tank this year, right?
Well, I don't think he's being brought in for that.
Yeah, I know that. If you're talking about like, I don't actually, and I'd like to hear Tom Brady say that we got to win immediately. That's not how you build a winner, right? That generally. Don't you kind of, I guess Bill Belichick came in New England and turned it around immediately, but you kind of need a little time. 3 or 4 years is not that much time either.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, Bill Belichick had Drew Bledsoe was the #1 overall pick that they just gave $100 million to. If not for Brady, Bledsoe was a good quarterback. He gets, his career is looked at much differently now because, he got Wally pipped by Tom Brady. But no, they had a quarterback in place. That's my biggest thing is how do you expect to do this when you're picking 6th in the draft?
Yep.
This isn't a great quarterback draft.
No.
But maybe they're planning on bringing in somebody like a free agent. Maybe this is a destination for Russell Wilson. Try to put the band back together.
Oh, geez Louise.
I'm just saying. I don't know. And we're not even sure if the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to bring back Russ. So that's all up in the air. Maybe this is a Sam Darnold place. Maybe Pete Carroll sees a future with Sam. I don't know.
Is he bringing Kevin O'Connell with him?
It made me think that they are definitely going the free agent route, although the draft process hasn't even started yet. I don't know if they can make good on this. And I want to believe in Pete Carroll for sure. I mean, why not, right? This is the best hire I think the Raiders could have made. And by the way, it was definitely a Tom Brady hire.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the best. I'm not sure I agree with that.
Okay.
I think, again, I'm going to go back to Ben Johnson. Now, I'm not saying Ben Johnson, per se Ben Johnson, but why not hire a 38-year-old who can build a champion slowly in the right way, like Sean McVay with the Rams? Why? I feel like Pete Carroll, time-wise, and he just said the timeline is a team that's ready to win right now, and the Raiders are far from that because their roster got gutted by years of Grudenism.
Yeah, and just bad drafts over and over again. Maybe they're seeing something, or they have some master plan with a lot of cap space and a coach that knows how to at least stop losing games that maybe you could be winning.
Well, that at best makes you 7-10. Like, I think you're going to need time to build the roster the right way.
I mean, there's a thought maybe you can do both. I don't know. It's really hard to do. It's really hard to do. Yep. But I think that, if I'm guessing, I think that Tom Brady probably looked out, and he's been, all over the league now with his job with Fox. He's super connected to everyone in the league. It's Tom Brady, for goodness sakes. So you pick up the phone with Tom, right?
Sure.
And maybe he's looking out at some of these coordinators and saying, I don't trust these guys. You're going to tell me I'm going to find the next Sean McVay? That's like hitting the lottery on the first time you buy a ticket. You think Ben Johnson, they interviewed him. He went to the Bears.
Yeah.
So not everyone's going to get Ben Johnson, and we don't even know how good he's going to be. So maybe he thought, listen, I've looked at everything. I've surveyed. And quite frankly, I want somebody who can just put their hands on the steering wheel here and not drive us into a ditch. And I'm not saying Antonio Pierce did that, but it's just been a revolving door of coaches for the Raiders. You might want to go with something that's a little more of a sure thing, even if it's somebody who's in their 70s.
Yeah, I hear you. But is that a way, what you described, is that the way to build a champion? I mean, don't you have to make kind of a radical move if you're the Raiders? Something like rip the Band-Aid? It feels like an in-between solution. Like, okay, we're gonna get back to respectability, but how are you going to build a champion that way, Maggie? I'm not like, I understand your logic. Of course you want to be back to respectability. It's been a long time, but that feels like a long way away from bringing a Lombardi trophy back to the Raiders.
Let's hear from Pete Carroll talking about Tom Brady as the minority owner being in the fold is a huge advantage for Las Vegas.
We happen to have the greatest of all time to help us and to see clearly, and we're going to lean on Tom as much as we possibly can for his insights, because nobody has the insights that he has. He's that unique.
I think Tom is running this. I think Tom decided on Pete Carroll and wanted this sort of somebody he probably felt like just could bring the stability. As far as the urgency and expectations, I don't think that's the best way to do it.
Let me ask a hard question. Why do you have so much faith in that Tom Brady knows how to do this? I mean, you would have.
Yeah, I don't know. We've seen a lot of really famous athletes go in and not be able to translate what they did on the field to what they do in the front office. But I like the first hire. Until I heard this whole urgency thing, like somehow they're taking down Patrick Mahomes next year. I don't know if that's true. Again, who's your quarterback? But I think the first hire is putting aside your ego, not somebody who's just going to do anything you want to do, and bringing in an accomplished coach like Pete Carroll. That's, I think, a smart, prudent move from Brady.
Well, right. But I thought you were going to say, well, Tom Brady's wanted everything he did. But you would have thought that all the things that made Tom Brady a great player would have made him a great broadcaster. And that has been mixed results.
Well, to be fair, I thought he had a great NFC Championship game. It's been one season. He's definitely gotten a lot better. Did you know that Austin Eckler had small hands?
I thought he's definitely gotten better. But I mean, you can't say this has been a successful season for him. He's the most, probably, except for Jason Witten, maybe the most criticized announcer we've had in 30 years.
I get it, but he's still got the Super Bowl. Like, there's a way that Tom Brady, he was good in the NFC Championship game. If he's good in the Super Bowl, I think we remember him being it started off rocky, then he found his sea legs, found his voice, started being a little more critical, and all of that. I think he gets remembered like kind of fondly.
Oh, put that poll up. I don't think so. I think, actually, I've been defending him, but I don't think it's well. The thing that he can't criticize the refs is a major structural problem with him as a broadcaster. I think everybody, and by the way, you should lean into this, because we have this bet, will he leave broadcasting to be more of an owner? That it's going to be a problem. If there's a terrible call in the Super Bowl, he can't say anything. Like, people are going to come after him. They're going to come after Fox. I don't even know if, it's going to be a problem. Don't you think? Like, there was a play where Dallas Goedert got simply mugged in the end zone. It was so obviously PI. And he's like, well, I don't know. I like that much contact. Then the next play said the exact opposite to back the official. It's a bit weird, no? That he owns a team and he's a broadcaster?
I think so, but I think the NFL doesn't care. And I don't think fans are generally going to be critical if he's not calling out the officials.
God, go on social media.
Years, though, Perloff, but that's not real life. Broadcasters for years never criticized the officials.
People don't love Brady as an announcer. Not yet.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
3rd and 9, they say, at the Buffalo 35. Buffalo out of timeouts. 1:35 to go in the game. Chiefs lead 32-29. Long count. Chiefs are going to throw it. They throw it in the left flat. Cut! It's Samaje Perine at the 30. First down! And up the left sideline. I love you, Samaje Perine.
That was Chiefs radio.
What are we doing here?
That was not Bills radio.
Maggie's just sort of getting her sea legs underneath her after losing on Sunday with the Bills, and now you're playing this highlight? Yeah. Of all highlights, the Samaje Perine little pass thing?
I just play what I'm told.
Yeah, that sealed it. Am I getting my sea legs under me? It's like going through different stages. Mm-hmm. But anyway, this isn't about me. This is about the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles that are going to the Super Bowl, Perloff. And I think that if we, when we made our preseason picks, I picked the Kansas City Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl. I thought they would eventually, I think I said they'd lose to the Packers, but play in the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. You picked
the Bengals. And by the way, if they had made the playoffs, they definitely would have been there.
Okay.
I'm totally convinced. Because... Yeah, basically, the only reason the Bengals didn't make the playoffs is because T. Higgins was screwing around with his contract, and they started out 0-5.
1-4, yeah.
Oh, 1-4. Yeah, they should have been there. But I was wrong about that.
Yeah, okay, you can admit you were wrong about that. But I don't think either of us really saw the Eagles maybe making it this far.
No.
So let's go through the most surprising maybe moments and the most surprising part of both the Eagles and the Chiefs making it back to the postseason, specifically the Eagles. What's the most surprising aspect of this to you?
Well, their defense was god-awful at the end of last year. One of the worst in the league. They were bottom 3 in third down defense. They were bottom 3 the second half of the year in scoring defense, passing defense, everything. They couldn't tackle anyone. They couldn't stop anyone. They definitely couldn't cover anyone. The defense that Vic Fangio put together this year, being number 1 across the board, is a miracle. And Vic Fangio is part of it. The fact that they got 2 superstar cornerbacks in the draft, which never happens, or at least 1.5 Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, that is bizarre. I can't believe how good their back 4 is because they were the worst in the NFL last year.
It really is remarkable.
Do you remember they traded for Kevin Byard? You might not. Halfway through the year, a former Pro Bowl Titan safety. He had no interest in tackling anyone. James Bradbury played terrible. They were making business decisions left or right. Now they're so tough, and they really can cover. And I'm hopeful they can cover the Chiefs' wide receivers, their plethora of receivers.
It has been maybe not so stunning, but how bad they were to now how good that defense is has been one of the biggest surprises. They always had the guys, though. That's the thing. Like, these 2 rookies have really stepped up, as you said, but the front has always been really good. It's always been star-studded.
Yeah, I mean, I think the difference is Jalen Carter needed a year to learn how to play NFL football. He was a rookie. Remember, they hit a wall last year. So I think they have had the guys. I think the guys are a little more mature. I know what you're saying.
For me, about the Eagles, it's twofold. Number one, I actually am surprised. It looks like a no-brainer now. But the fact that somebody did pony up this much money for Saquon Barkley, like, let's go back to a time this summer when I think the running back position, Perloff, was at an all-time low. Derrick Henry was having trouble finding a team until he signed with Baltimore. The idea was that you don't need a expensive running back. It's a terrible waste of investment, and you can just find any, like Tom, Dick, and Harry out there can go out there and get you 5 yards per carry. And I think that what the Eagles have shown is, A, investing in that position was actually one of the smartest things they ever did. This might go down as one of the great free agent signings ever. Mm-hmm. And number 2, look at what happened with a lot of, you move the safeties back because you had guys like, trying to, make sure that the quarterbacks were just sort of dinking and dunking down the field and trying to guard against the explosive plays. And what happened? It opened up like the whole middle of the field. So smart coordinators started saying, well, why don't we just run the ball? You backed up your defense, and now we see some green grass. So I think that was number one as far as
how
well this worked out with Barkley. Like, this worked out incredibly well.
They didn't spend that much on him. I mean, he'd be like the 400th paid wide. He got, 3 years, $36 million?
But after Christian McCaffrey, who was spending money on running backs right now?
Well, McCaffrey got twice that. I know. You're right, but it's not like they broke the bank for him, which, thank God, 3 years. So, 3 years, 36 or 37. So that's a lot, but still the way they're paying. They paid Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown like $28 million a year. So
I know, but this is like we're in the era now
it is, you're absolutely like
Yeah.
relative to other running backs, he's highly paid. But relative to the whole cap, he's definitely very manageable. Which I think, by the way, a lot of teams like Dallas and other teams are like, wow, why did we do that? You're exactly right.
So that would be my first surprise. And then my second surprise with the Eagles goes back to an article that was written on ESPN.com, and it's from August 7th, 2024. So right when training camp is really underway. And this was a quote about how awful the vibes were in the building in Philadelphia. The quote was, "Even when we were 10-1, everyone was walking around like their dog died. All year, instead of having fun playing, it was like, oh my gosh, we just lost the Super Bowl." The fact that they pulled themselves out of that malaise, Pearl, the fact that Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, according to this article, really couldn't be in the same room without somebody else being like a mediator / buffer because they were so not speaking the same language that Kellen Moore was being talked about as like a translator between the head coach and the quarterback. How it went from that to Super Bowl bound, and now this head coach and quarterback are in their second Super Bowl together, to me feels like a minor miracle.
Go Birds!
Yeah, I mean, we're not there. Even with the report, it's kind of hard to tell there's probably gray areas here. Again, I personally think that all the vibe stuff, to me, and this is just my opinion, was all a bit overrated. The fact that Quinyon Mitchell could actually cover somebody and the offense could get back on the field was the key. But I hear what you're saying. Maybe winning cures everything, too. Is it possible that they just started putting some W's together and then they're like, forget it. It doesn't matter.
I know, but my quote, when we were 10-1, everyone was walking around like their dog died.
Yeah.
That's why this is so surprising, because they put together wins the year after the Super Bowl loss.
But that team was like the picture a car going down the highway and the wheels are kind of starting to get loose.
Yeah.
Like, they were definitely, like, you're starting to see holes. Like, Washington and Dallas were putting up 40 burgers on them left and right. I think that you could see on the field things were starting to go wrong, even at 10-1.
Okay, for the Chiefs, a little bit of a harder assignment because I don't think anyone really doubted that the Chiefs would be right back here, right where they are.
Well, I'll tell you what, my one little surprise, it is something we debate all the time. I didn't think Xavier Worthy was good at first. I thought he got knocked off his route all the time. I thought he was ineffective. Like his first bunch of games, he had a decent first game. These 2 catches, 47 yards, and 17 yards, 25 yards, 19 yards, a 0 burger against Tampa Bay, 11 yards. They had no idea how to use him. He was not, when Rashee Rice got hurt, that was a devastating blow to the Chiefs. He was 40% of their offense. So I thought, okay, they lost Rice. Kelsey's getting older. Hollywood Brown's not there. There are no receivers. There's no way this team can move the ball. And it turned out from 98% of the season, they could not move the ball.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, towards the end of the season, oh, okay, Patrick Mahomes is figuring out this receiving core. Oh, there's Xavier Worthy. They found a way to get him out in space. I did not see that coming. And all of a sudden, the fact that the Chiefs offense is capable of putting up 32 on a pretty good defense, I had no idea.
My biggest surprise for the Chiefs, we're talking about what's the most shocking, if there were shocking moments that got the Eagles and the Chiefs now to the Super Bowl. My biggest one is the Chiefs becoming these villains. I didn't see it. I didn't think it was going to take, I guess I want to say, this short amount of time. You know, they seem to have created this kind of backlash, and whether it's the Taylor Swift thing that we've talked about, whether it's the officials and the perception that they're helping, whether it's, I don't know, like just the success, whether it's how the fan base is handling the winning. And some people think that that's obnoxious, although I think 31 other teams would also be like this. The turning on the team when the quarterback is so popular is the shocker to me. That's the one I didn't see coming.
I've been trying to wrap my head around this phenomenon all week long. And I don't know what's real, what's not real, why. Because I feel like every reason to dislike them, you just mentioned, it's all manufactured. It's just because they're good. Like, is there any, at the end of the day, if they were an 8-8 team, and would any of this bother anyone? It seems like they're just good. And also, you do bring up Mahomes. I saw a Sportico article, the Business Journal, that Mahomes is the number one most popular player in the league, and Kelsey's 2.
Yeah.
So I'm actually wondering, wow, are the Chiefs secretly more popular? I know Twitter hates them, but Twitter is run by the Boston sports media. A lot of this is being driven. A lot of this is being driven by Dave Portnoy, kind of. I feel like they're influential voices who hate the Chiefs, and I don't know if the rest of America really hates them, or are they secretly creating an army of 10-year-old Chiefs fans out there? Just like, I know there are a lot of 10-year-old Josh Allen fans too, but I'm very curious about really what the vibe is on this Chiefs team. I think there's some high-profile hatred of them, but they're not hateable. There's nothing hateable about them. The way they play super hard. Their quarterback is the nicest guy in the league, practically. Like, there's really nothing hateable. So it's very confusing to me.
Well, I didn't see it to this extent. I think it's obviously because of the success. I totally understand that. But I think they just rub people the wrong way.
But what rubs them the wrong way?
The winning. Definitely the winning. And the winning and, the gloating about it. But again, I think all teams did that.
Well, who's gloating?
Well, Kelsey's a little over the top. There's a lot of Kelsey in our lives.
Yeah, but Kelsey's always been like that.
That is true.
He's been like that even before he won Super Bowls. He was out there.
You jabroni!
Yeah. Is that's what people don't like? Is Kelsey's gloating? I'd like to hear from the audience. I don't get the Chiefs hate.
Arrowhead my ass!
Is it him?
I think it's him and Taylor. EJ's talked about this. He has like a 10-point plan for why people don't like
the
Chiefs.
EJ has multiple reasons, right?
I gave you like 10 reasons before. I can run through them again, but
none of them
are
are
you doing something else? Are you busy back there?
No.
But I'm just saying,
you wanted to. I mean, I can run through the list again.
But the first and foremost thing was the winning.
If they were 8-9, would these things bother you as much?
No, but they wouldn't be doing this crap if they were 8-9. That's my point.
What crap?
You jabroni! We just heard the clip. What do you mean?
He's done that his entire career. Travis Kelce has been part pro wrestler since the day he walked in the NFL. The dude had his own dating show.
Mayor Jabroni.
I just feel like when you look at the Chiefs, there's a lot of arrogance there. There's a lot of, I think, what feels like lack of authenticity there.
Who the fuck is that guy?
I'm just...
but Mahomes is not arrogant. Do you think Mahomes is arrogant? He's confident.
He just said yesterday, man, I feel bad it's us, Josh Allen. Like that, I can't even open my phone without seeing an arrogant Pat Mahomes clip. I literally just watched it yesterday.
There's nothing arrogant about him. He's confidence. Like, there's nothing, he's not over the top. He is so nice about Josh Allen. He said he's Josh Allen's biggest cheerleader, and that's not,
it's
totally authentic about that.
And tell the guy you just lost, hey man, I'm sorry it was us.
He loves Josh Allen. What's wrong? I don't understand. Yes, that sounds nice.
Right, but you don't see how other people could see that and say, hey bro, like nobody's trying to hear that. Like, if I was Josh Allen, I wouldn't want to hear that. A lot of other people would not want to hear that.
Well, to be fair, Josh Allen shouldn't want to hear anything. There's, like, literally nothing that anyone can say that can console him right now. That'd be one. But two, the one thing I didn't like from Mahomes was when they lost to the Bills in Arrowhead last year in the regular season. Obviously, the Bills have never beaten them in the postseason. And Mahomes was ticked off about a call or something at the end. He didn't even shake Josh Allen's hand. Like, he was so incensed in that moment that he couldn't even be a good loser.
Yeah, he walked up to him and was like, hey, man, this refs suck, bro. I can't believe that happened, and just walked away. And Josh Allen's like, thanks.
That was sweet.
Yeah. That part I didn't like. But
listen, but Mahomes is part killer, too. I mean, he's like all these guys.
No,
but you keep saying this stuff.
But
I guess what my confusion is, you seem to act like as if like these are things that people can't dislike. I'm not saying you have to dislike them. Right. But these are obvious traits that people look at and say, I cannot like these things about this team and this organization.
Travis Kelce getting out there and saying, you jabronis, that seems kind of likable to me. I think it's funny. I love Travis Kelce when he sings Fight for Our Right to Party. Like, that is obviously likable to me. Like, Travis Kelce is, before the Taylor Swift thing, was one of the most, and he's probably second most popular player in the NFL. He's incredibly likable. Would you say that's Travis Kelce's jam?
I would just say this, a bit overexposed. But he's just taking his opportunity. I felt like there was a moment, and I think we're still in the moment, where you can't go 1 second without Travis Kelce, Jason Kelce, and all of that stuff. I'm not
So
saying
it's
it's a bad.
overexposure.
I don't think it's a bad product what they're putting out necessarily. It's just so much about them.
Yeah, but I guess that's my point. It's like it's not that they're unlikable. It's just they're winning and there's too much of them. Then Travis Kelce's a likable character. No, generally, like he came up. We all like Travis Kelce, and now we don't like him. That's what I find interesting. I find him like he's a great interview. He seems like a good dude. He plays hard as anyone in the league. He's kind of like Gronk. Like, do you not like Gronk too?
I think he's different than Gronk, but he's a loudmouth, and I just think that at the end of the day, we say that as if like we all like loudmouths.
Well,
like,
he's the number one
that's actually not the
podcast.
case.
I mean, yeah, we all like Travis. It's incredibly popular. He hosted Saturday Night Live before Taylor Swift. Where did you think that? Like, do you think they said like, let's bring this guy in because nobody likes him? Like, they brought him in because they're like, wow, this guy's got a great personality. Let's put him on SNL.
Of course he's popular. Of course he has people. Again, like I think you're confusing the fact that people pay attention to him and they're infatuated by him by also being that everybody enjoys his act.
I think they did until Taylor Swift. I think he was, yes. You don't host Saturday Night Live because you're not enjoyable. You don't think that Travis Kelce was, he was great. We loved Travis Kelce about 5 years ago. We were always talking like, oh man, Travis Kelce's so funny. And he is. Why do you think New Heights is awesome? Because he's funny as all get out.
I have other reasons why I think that podcast does really well.
Yeah.
Why it did? It was number one long before Taylor. Long before Taylor.
Yeah, I think that they're probably pretty entertaining. They're storytellers, and they've got 2 rabid fan bases that are definitely behind them, and now 3. So it's Eagles, it's Chiefs, and it's the Swifties. And I think that they do some unbelievable editing on that pod.
Oh, okay.
It is perfect. Perfectly edited. And you know what? So are some of our favorite movies, and so are some of our favorite TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying this as a compliment to the person behind the scenes or people who are making that thing pop.
Okay, wait. Let me make this clear. New Heights podcast shot to number 1 over Pardon My Take and Bill Simmons because the editing was so good. Because there was some guy in an office. That's not because of Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce's personality. It was because there was an awesome editor in the back room.
No, I think that it takes a team, and they already are the talent, and you can see the talent there, and then the really good editing pushes them to the top. You know who else credits really good editing for their success? Call Her Daddy. All these, what we do, we're not a pod. We have a pod. We talk free form, free flow. You can edit a podcast and just take you guys behind the curtain. You can really make this thing. You cut out every little if, cough, and every superfluous sentence, and it makes you look amazing. That's what I'm saying. Manny, you're laughing. You think that I'm being a hater.
No. Good word. Good SAT word.
Yeah. Impressive.
Yeah.
Very well done.
Yeah. Part of my
I
take,
learned from
honestly,
Walt
it's not
Frazier.
because everyone loves Big Cat. It's just because somebody cut out the
The
part
the
where
ums.
PFT was looking for a joke. Come on. Come on. It's a personality. Some people are like
That's where you
Stephen.
start.
Some people, you connect to some people, you don't connect to others. People connected until Taylor Swift. They really connected to the Kelces.
I think
now, unfortunately, the Kelces are too big for most people.
I just think that there's a disconnect for me where I think where you see popularity equal likability, I see popularity can equal likability and people disliking you. Like there's a market out there and a business out there to being bombastic and over the top and being quote unquote off the cuff that also puts people off, but it also draws people in. Travis Kelce has a massive fan base, and I agree. I think that he's going to have a great career beyond football, outside of whatever happened with Taylor Swift. What I'm saying, though, is that when you win championships and you go and you spike the football and you trash talk and you do all these things, it's just like why people don't like Floyd Mayweather, why they don't like Conor McGregor, why they don't like all these other people. It's the same thing.
I'm out on this. You're saying that Floyd Mayweather and Travis Kelce, people don't like Travis? That is ridiculous.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's kind of taken from the same WWE playbook.
Exactly.
They're
doing
all
the same
taken
thing.
from that same thing.
Yeah, except like one of them's a criminal and one of them is not a
Take out
criminal.
the criminal stuff,
Yeah.
girl. These guys were disliked before all that.
The Floyd Mayweather is tough because it's kind of hard to divorce yourself from his off the field thing.
But I'm talking years before that. Or Muhammad Ali. I can name any trash talker type person. Like at the end of the day, there are a lot of people who just don't like people being over the top bombastic. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a lane.
Deion Sanders. I mean, we could take non-criminals. I can go on and on.
Yeah, well, you said Ali. 855-212-4227. I don't think people think the draft dodging was... Yeah.
Dion, Muhammad Ali, even McGregor, like those guys are incredibly well-liked. Like incredibly well-liked.
And also hated.
Yeah, but much more well-liked, I think. I mean, at the time, Muhammad Ali was the politics, but generally, people would not hate listening to the New Heights podcast back when it became shot to number one. That was not their vibe at all. They were just like, they're like the Long brothers. They're like nice guys who tell good stories. They were not like Dion. Anyway. But Floyd Mayweather, that I know what you meant. Like Floyd Mayweather, you might have pulled out of that one because of the other stuff. That's all.
Yeah, I'm not talking about anything. I'm talking about him coming up. He's pretty boy. None of the off the. People didn't like him then. Like that's what I'm talking about.
Totally. When you say Floyd Mayweather, that evokes a lot of emotion.
I get it.
Otherwise,
yeah, no doubt. So that was the most surprising part of the Chiefs' journey to me. That's where this whole thing started. The most surprising part of both the Eagles and the Chiefs' journey to the Super Bowl. Eagles a lot more shocking just from the football aspect of it, especially the defense. The Chiefs, I was shocked that they became this much of the villain. 855-212-4227. For a lot of what Perloff is saying, the people seem to like Mahomes and Kelsey, and what EJ is saying. Maybe kind of sick of at least from Kelsey's side, being loudmouth, being, I don't want to say super confident, that's fine, but being like over the top. 855-212-4227. Got a lot more to do, including the, without a doubt, most ridiculous moment from yesterday. We've got it for you. We've got it on tape.
You gotta fight for your right to party!
All right, Maggie, I have to fight for my right to go over on LeBron James 24.5 points tonight because of Prize Picks. All right, it's Super Bowl season. We got one more football game that we can play Prize Picks with. It's the best place to put cash on the big game. The app's simple to use. Pick 2 or more players across any sport. Pick more or less on their projection, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money. It's obviously not just football. There's so much NBA. There's hockey. You've got Connor Bedard and Jack Eichel tonight. There's all kinds of choices. All sports fans have to play Prize Picks.
I'm just surprised that Perloff has become such a soccer nerd. And it's all a credit to Prize Picks.
Oh, you don't think Nicolas Schmid is going to have 2.5 saves tonight? Then you have not been watching. Hold, please. No, they don't list his team.
See what I'm talking about, people? Perloff obsessed, and you can be too. Join Prize Picks. As Perloff said, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. It's available to play in more than 40 states, including California and Texas. And join now because Prize Picks is giving away a free pick for the big game where a quarterback will only need to throw 1 yard to win.
I like those odds.
I know. This is our big obsession for this football season. Come on, play with us. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code MMP. You get a $50 in bonus promo funds instantly when you just play $5. That's code MMP on Prize Picks to get $50 in bonus promo funds instantly when you play $5. Win or lose, you get $50 in bonus credits just for playing. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Mand P.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff Show. We're discussing what's our biggest surprise about the Chiefs and the Eagles run in the Super Bowl this year. And the topic of Chiefs hate took over the segment, which is no surprise. It feels like that is, to me, the number one narrative of this Super Bowl matchup. Why do you hate the Chiefs? And if so, why? Seems like the question on everyone's mind.
Also, the Eagles getting a major pass here because normally teams from Philadelphia are definitely the most hated teams.
Yeah, they're totally irrelevant in this situation. I don't feel like anyone's even paying attention to the Eagles. Maybe even mildly rooting for the Eagles, which is a big surprise.
Well, I won't go that far.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Okay.
But
maybe that was a stretch.
I think that, the Eagles just sort of seem like they're just either the team that's going to topple the Chiefs or the team that's standing in is going to get toppled by the Chiefs. And it's just really only about Kansas City in the
They're
Super Bowl.
an NPC. They're a non-playing character in the Super Bowl. It's all about the Chiefs.
Trey's in Pittsburgh has a reason, another reason to dislike the Chiefs that no one's talking about. What's up, Trey?
Hey, I was just thinking a lot of people really respect dominance in the league. I think that's why some people had a lot of respect for Tom Brady and the Patriots. And I think it's about 8 games that the Chiefs have won by one score, one play, or one call, and then they lose a game by a call, and they just complain about it, and they complain about it at the press conference. And I just think that when you win that many close games and then you turn around and nonstop complain when you lose one that way, it just kind of shows you as a sore loser.
They've lost 2 games this year. When were they complaining, Trey?
Well, when they lost to the Bills, I think Maggie talked about it before the break when Josh Allen's hand and was complaining about that call, and then he talked about it again at the press conference. That was a terrible call, and that's what lost him the game.
Yeah, it's not being a gracious loser. That's for sure. But, to be fair, and Trey, it's a good point that I had not thought up. The amount of close wins that they get and then a close loss, it's like they completely lose their minds. Thank you for making the phone call. You know who else was a bad loser? Brady.
Yeah, I mean, the Patriots are similar. They had a lot of close wins, too.
tons of close wins, especially the Super Bowl.
07, they were a blowout team, but generally, I don't think of them as a blow team out. They're like the Spurs. Honestly, everything you guys are saying about the Chiefs, like I see hating the Patriots dynasty. That's obvious to me. I still am having trouble wrapping my head around hating the Chiefs.
Rich is in California. Hey, Rich.
Hi. This case seems to me kind of a giant version of high school. I mean, you've got Taylor Swift and Kelsey and the whole thing. And it's just going to be real interesting. They're going to get their 15 minutes of fame, and then when Kelsey hangs them up, and as a tight end, he's getting toward the end of his career, we'll stop hearing about it, and there'll be somebody else that'll take his place.
Rich, I think you're right about the high school part. Thank you for the call, especially because some of Taylor Swift's songs talk about this kind of dynamic, and now she's kind of like dating the football player. It's kind of playing out a little like one of her songs about high school, like Life Imitating Art. But I don't think Kelsey's going anywhere. He's going to be in our lives now more than ever.
Well, actually, I'd have thought, I don't think he retires because I think he's worried that Taylor's going to lose interest if he retires. I've had that thought yesterday because Taylor looks so happy to be at the game. Is he less of a shiny object to her if he's not playing?
That's a great point because he said she's encouraging him to keep playing. Maybe she doesn't want him laying around the house like going through some existential crisis about whether he's what's his true identity. Well, she's got to be on tour.
Well, if it's a high school model, you want to date the high school quarterback, and if he's not playing quarterback in this metaphor, then who is he? Also, it's actually getting to be a while now that they've been dating. I'm just not to put pressure, but like, where's the ring? I'm not talking about the championship ring. Where's the other ring?
Oh, it's coming.
It better be because I had to tell you, like, not to put pressure on you, Trav. You better make a move soon, dude.
I like this from David, who's in Boise. This is a great one that we have not thought of yet. Go ahead, David.
I was just thinking that the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes had success so fast without, I believe, earning it. And then that, to me, that's why. And I'm a Bills fan from Boise, Idaho. So
glad to know Bills Mafia is up and running in Boise.
Wait,
Stay strong.
No. What are you talking about?
I think this is right.
I mean, the Chiefs were in the wilderness for years and years and years. They weren't some team that had been something great. And Mahomes
the first season
lost.
that he played is 50 touchdowns and success. And he may have lost to Tom Brady, but it's 7 straight AFC appearances. So there's no failure on that aspect of it.
Well, Mahomes is probably the losingest college quarterback in the entire NFL, I would imagine. He lost in college. Does that help?
No.
Not
even close. David, don't even dignify that with a response.
Well,
Thank
of course
you for
it is.
calling
I mean,
in.
like Mahomes.
Who cares?
Mahomes wasn't a huge recruit. I mean, Mahomes has a backstory just like all these other. He's got resilience. Yeah. I mean, like, wait. So, but somebody hates Mahomes because he was good in his second year?
No, I think the idea that it from the outside looked kind of easy. Like you lose to Tom Brady in the AFC Championship game because D4 jumps off sides. That's not your fault. You're awesome. You're winning MVPs early on. You're going to Super Bowls. Like what's the devastating loss to the Bengals? They'd already had a Super Bowl by then. You lose to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Your offensive line was decimated. I don't think that was, that's not the failure that like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and Peyton Manning went through and Phillip Rivers and, listen, Brady had success right away also.
Yeah, and I don't remember resenting Brady. I'm like, Brady did it too soon without earning it. I mean, Brady, just like Mahomes, had all sorts of stuff happen in the background. He lost his job to Drew Henson. Mahomes wasn't recruited by Texas. Like, they all have these backstories.
No. But Brady being picked 199 makes him the ultimate underdog that he got to play that up. Mahomes was still a first-round pick.
Yeah, but Mahomes wasn't exactly like Trevor Lawrence. He wasn't on this great trajectory. He kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, that's fair to say.
Yeah, no, he wasn't tab generational.
No. He was a Texas Tech quarterback. They were like 6-8 his final year or something.
Top 10 pick. 855-212-4227. Andrew Bogusch is here with headlines. Keep the calls coming. Why do you think that the Chiefs are getting the amount of backlash?
Wait, so do now we hate all top 10 picks? What is this? These people are stretching here. That is not a reason.
You can't be an underdog, I'm saying. Brady was an underdog at pick 199.
Okay.
So that's why I think he avoided maybe some of this backlash because it was like, Tom Brady came out of nowhere. Which I also thought was kind of weird because he went to Michigan. But
Dad's
still.
a pro athlete, too.
So, yeah, I mean, we don't like the number 1 overall picks now just because they were number 1 overall. I don't know. I feel like we love guys who are great. Michael Jordan was the number 3 pick. He's the most popular athlete of all time.
Yeah, but
Anyway,
Michael Jordan lost for 7 years before he finally won.
that's not why we like him. We like him because he won.
No, but that's why when the success came, you realize what we're talking about, right? When the success came, it felt like he had lost to the Celtics.
Of course
he had
I realize
lost
what you're
to the
talking
bad
about.
boy Pistons. Right?
But it's still like, man, I hate Patrick Mahomes because it was too easy. That just feels like you're inventing reasons to hate him, to me.
Bogusch, what do you have, sir?
Mom, Dad, please allow me just one more time to remind people that the Cowboys landed on Brian Schottenheimer after barely looking for a head coach, at least in comparison to the Jets and Bears, who interviewed half the free world. Schottenheimer himself didn't interview for any other positions this cycle. I'm not even sure I knew he was on Dallas' staff during the season. So Schottenheimer understands the confusion around his hire.
Maybe I don't look the part. I'm not svelte. I don't look comfortable on camera. I'm not savvy. I don't understand what's going on in the news. I'm not likable. I don't get along with people.
A lot of air quotes.
Yeah, what was it? It was Chris Farley.
It was Bennett Brower.
Okay.
I don't know what the backstory of that character was, but it was just a Weekend Update guest.
So it wasn't Matt Foley, motivational speaker,
It
living
was
in
not.
a van down by the river.
No, but I mean,
It was kind
yes,
of
it
like
was
that.
because he
yeah.
was in a suit and his hair was slicked back, and it's Farley being Farley, but he's with not Norm.
Kevin Nealon.
Kevin Nealon on Weekend Update. And that's
he's
all
doing
air quotes.
Yeah.
I might not shower.
Yeah, air quote shower. That was Stephen Jones yesterday saying that the Dallas Cowboys are not in a air quotes drought of not getting to the Super Bowl. It's like, you are. I don't know what else you'd call it.
I love he said that the drought that people say we're in. It's like the NFL says you're in it, bro.
Like,
the dictionary says it.
The record book says you're in
Like
it.
people who created the calendar.
It's biblical at this point.
If the NFL had a Stanley Cup and they engraved all the winners on there, it would show that you are in a drought, sir.
Yeah, the air quotes and the bad use of the air quotes was the new one.
Great live TV moment, too, in that skit, because at the end, Farley is supposed to get lifted up into the air over the crowd, and the rigging gets stuck on the lighting. And Kevin Nealon actually stands up and tries to release him from the light on SNL.
Can I actually make a case that Kevin Nealon was one of the best Weekend Update hosts?
You can.
Sure.
I think that he was fantastic. Subliminal Message Man was his own thing that was super funny. Deadpan, dry delivery. And I think, Norm Macdonald, we're talking about the Chiefs not being likable. Norm Macdonald, may he rest in peace, was very polarizing. Some people love him. Some people just didn't get it. Kevin Nealon was a little more universal.
Sure.
Like, it was hard. You got the shtick. He was doing exactly what you need for Weekend Update. I think he's better than Colin Jost and Michael Che.
Although I think the Che Jost joke swapping bit is an all-time bit.
It's a funny bit.
I like that.
I mean, I like Tina Fey. I could have taken her. Who's the late show host?
Seth Meyers.
Seth Meyers. I
Yeah.
think.
Colin Quinn.
Oh, Colin Quinn, yeah.
But
Dennis Miller, Chevy
obviously.
Chase. I mean, there's a lot there. I think Kevin Nealon was Subliminal Message Man is amazing.
Yeah, no, I love Kevin Nealon. I mean, obviously, to me, Norm Macdonald is like Mount Olympus. Like,
yeah.
I mean, there's nobody like him. Get fired for keeping on doing the OJ jokes. That is the all-time greatest TV move.
It was something. But he's not everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah, but I like that he's my cup of tea.
Right.
Yeah,
I think you're wrong if you don't get it.
And obviously, I mean, I think in the comedy world, obviously, Norm Macdonald is revered in a very unique way. Kind of like Stephen Wright or something. Like, he's just comedian's comedian, where Kevin Nealon is more everyman.
Yeah.
Back to
We
football.
got to the bottom of that.
Back to football. The Saints just confirmed they interviewed Eagles OC Kellen Moore for their head coaching job last night in Philly. And Raiders D coordinator Patrick Graham, he got 2 interviews for the Jaguars head coaching job that went to Liam Cohen. So now Graham interviewed for their defensive coordinator job last night. In the NBA last night, vintage Klay Thompson.
Dribble handoff. Thompson. Oh, yeah! Klay Thompson gives him a shimmy. He drills his 7th 3 first quarter.
That's Mavs TV. Clay was 7 first quarter threes. He didn't hit another one, scored only 2 more points, finishing with 23. But the Mavs rolled over the Wizards 130-108. Nikola Jokic, 33 points, 12 boards, 14 assists. But the Nuggets lost in Chicago 129-121. The Suns held off the Clippers 111-109, 50 combined points from Booker and KD. And the Raptors beat the Pelicans 113-104 for their first 4-game win streak since February of 2023. Second-ranked Duke fought off NC State 74-64 behind 28 from Cooper Flagg. And Arizona took down number 3 Iowa State 86-75 in overtime in Tucson. Caleb Love forcing OT with a running heave from before half court. And hockey last night, Connor McDavid scored in his return from his 3-game suspension. His Oilers down Seattle 4-2 for a 3-game win streak. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thank you so much. Coming up, see you guys on the phones. Your, I guess, suggestions or your reasons why you don't like the Chiefs. Obviously, they're taking on the Eagles in the Super Bowl. We also have the moment from yesterday that you are going to be hearing maybe for the rest of your natural life. Get to it next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The Defensive Player of the Week is sponsored by the Navy Federal Credit Union, who proudly serves the Armed Forces, DoD, veterans, and their families. Their members are the mission. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. We should be able to pick it this week. There's only 2 games to watch. We're all watching the same 2 games. Defensive Player of the Week.
Well, unless EJ didn't pick football.
Well, that'd be crazy. It's Tuesday. Let's assume he did take football. Defensive Player of the Week. Nothing's jumping to mind immediately.
Well, if you want to be nice to Perloff, you can pick either Zach Bond or Reed Blankenship, who came up with big fumble recoveries against the Washington Commanders.
Ooh. But, I mean, they scored 55 points. I don't even remember the defense in that game. How about the Chiefs? Who was the big Chiefs defender?
Well, I mean, Chris Jones had a really good game.
Yeah, Chris Jones was really good.
The Commanders.
But they let
Carl
up 20.
Loftus had a good game.
Yeah, they had one of their worst defensive games, too. They let up 29 points. Maybe he did go another sport.
All right. So you guys were not even in the ballpark. You guys were like on the field, like on the goal line. Somehow you missed the play or you missed the player.
Almost like Josh Allen, 4th and 1, right?
Yeah,
Thanks,
hit it, Manny.
De'Ami Brown with his speed on the cross. Brown runs into DeJean. Ball is out. Eagles recover.
Unbelievable by Bond with the peanut punch with DeJean on the assist. Knocking it out of his arms right there.
Zach Bond.
Yeah.
Defensive Player of the Week. You guys mentioned Blankenship.
Wait. Maggie was.
I said Zach Bond.
I heard Blankenship.
I said both. I said Zach Bond and Reed Blankenship both recovered fumbles.
I heard the Blankenship part. I was like, how do we? But then you said recovered fumble. He didn't recover that fumble. This is the one he knocked out.
Okay.
Recovering the fumble didn't matter, Maggie. It was about the punch out. Again, you guys were on the goal line.
Yeah, but
this.
Zach Bond failed to tackle Terry McLaurin on the touchdown. Had a great angle. That scared me because I'm like, if you can't tackle him, you got those Chiefs crossers. Anyway,
he tackled a lot of people. We had 12 tackles in this game, and I'm picking Zach Bond because to me, that was the biggest defensive play of the weekend. This game looked like it was going to be a great game. The Commanders come down, score. Barkley has his touchdown. You see how the Commanders are going to respond. And immediately, Zach Bond changed the game with that punch out. He's had an incredible season. I talk about him with you guys all the time. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL now because this guy came out of nowhere. It's awesome.
5 finalists for Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, and he deserves it. He's had an incredible season. So, and I love an underdog story like Zach. So he is my Defensive Player of the Week and the Navy Federal Defensive Player of the Week.
He's got a lot of work ahead of him, Zach Bond.
Bad choice. I hate it.
Manny, you weren't going to like any Philadelphia Eagle getting defensive player.
That's right.
Yeah.
But actually, EJ would not pick a Kansas City Chief. We should have figured that out.
Was there one person?
Trent McDuffie would have been. He was on my short list. Okay. He came on that. I think he came on that blitz, right?
He did.
Yeah, he came on the blitz.
That was
he did get beat deep though.
You could have gone Steve Spagnuolo.
Yeah, I'm not doing coaches. I don't like to get too funky. I'll do a team every now and then, but I don't like to get too funky with coaches.
But you can't give the cornerback the credit on the blitz. That was Spagnuolo's play. Yeah, that was incredible.
I guess, but McDuffie's awesome though, man. And then he locked up Keon Coleman on the fade route. What kind of play call was that, Maggie?
Oh my gosh!
We don't talk about. No one mentions that. That was crazy. I think they scored, so it didn't matter. But
fade to the end zone. Yeah, they scored on 4th down. Curtis Samuel in the back of the end zone, and a laser beam that Josh Allen threw. Oh, I hate fade. Just fade to a rookie
Against
receiver
the best corner in the NFL?
Yeah, the best corner in the conference. Like, who thinks that's going to work?
But Josh just threw it out of bounds. He gave up on the play halfway through his delivery.
I know. Well, this is part of the maturation of Josh Allen. He's like, hell no.
Idiots.
I'm not going to throw another pick in the end zone and everyone's going to blame me for why the Bills lost.
I may be getting labeled as Chiefs hater, but Trent McDuffie is also one of my favorite players. He's awesome.
It's hard for a cornerback to get highlights, though, because if you're a really, really good cornerback, you disappear from the game. Like, I would not throw at Trent McDuffie once. That guy is a stud. I agree.
He's awesome. 855-212-4227. Larry is in California. We've been talking about why is there this big backlash to the Chiefs, or so it seems. What's your guess, Larry?
Oh, hey, listen, number one is my dad always told me that a good loser is a loser. That's number one. And people don't like the Chiefs because they keep winning. But in order for you to be on their bandwagon or off their bandwagon, you got to beat them. You got to stop them. They're there to be stopped. Nobody's stopping them.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like you think the Eagles are going to be stopping them either, Larry. What do you think about that as parenting advice? If you're a good loser, you're a loser. I'm going to go strong disagree there. I think you can be a gracious loser. I don't think it means you don't care. I don't think it means that you I think you can still be maniacal about winning, but also have some grace about losing, no?
Yeah, I mean, but when you put it that way, I guess like that's out of like the more hardcore alpha stance by Larry.
It's probably your favorite athletes. Brady, Michael Jordan, these guys were not good losers.
Yeah, I mean, again, Mahomes, Mr. quote-unquote nice guy, is also not a good loser. I'm not going to kill him for that. I'm
Is
team,
this the
team
parenting
Mahomes.
advice you gave your daughters?
No, my daughters, but Emma, I'm sorry, I'm saying her name. My youngest daughter can't play board games because losing is too frustrating for her, and she ends up just becoming a nightmare for about an hour. So we just don't even play.
I mean, that's kind of the sign of an athlete. Have you heard professional athletes talk about playing board games as kids? They cry, they throw things, like they can't handle the losing. So maybe she's got some untapped potential here.
She's got Perloff genetics, though. That is the problems.
Shoot.
She's actually, I think she has Perloff genetics. She does some things better than me, but no pro sports in her future.
You think she has Perloff genetics? Of
Well,
course
she's
she does.
she's an amazing singer, an amazing dancer.
That
That
doesn't
is
sound
not
like you.
Andrew Perloff. That's definitely from the other side. Yeah, she's always, but she couldn't do sports. She was too competitive, and she would basically break down and want to fight kids on the soccer field. Just a city boy.
I think that you missed an opportunity here. You just got to funnel that in the right direction.
Oh no, she's funneling it into a totally different direction, into the theater world, and that is more cutthroat than the sports world. You didn't even know.
Born and raised in South Detroit.
I mean, at least in sports, there's clear winners and losers. You go into the theater, it's just basically anyone's opinion.
Yeah, totally. But she will stab somebody for that lead role.
We are watching the next great American actress.
Florence Pugh, get out the way.
Check the brakes on your car, lady. Emma's coming through. Jeff is in Tucson. Speaking of someone who went from wins and losses to now a little more gray area, Tom Brady as a broadcaster. Jeff, what do you think?
Well, I have a couple comments. One, I think that the crisscross of Brady going into broadcasting, if he fails in the Super Bowl, I think that's going to be his epitaph, and he'll go on to be his co-ownership. And the second thing I'm going to say is everybody's kind of left about the haterism that's going on about the Chiefs. I mean, we turn on our TV, and they are so commercialized that we become to hate them because we're always seeing them every single day of every single hour.
Yep. Yeah, Jeff, it's the overexposure. And thank you so much for the call. Interesting. He thinks if Brady flops in the Super Bowl, then he will not return for Fox. We can talk about that a little bit. But yeah, they're overexposed. It's a lot of commercials. And I don't begrudge someone from making your money. Go ahead and do it. But Brady never really he didn't overexpose himself until, ironically, after he had left football. Then Brady was everywhere.
Right. He wouldn't do TV ads for a big chunk of his career. He did like the print UGG ads. He was really good about that, to be honest. Early on, he wouldn't do all the TV ads. Like Dak Prescott came in the league and immediately had like 7 commercials. Brady's out like that. By the way, I was looking at Brady last night. he was highly criticized for the weirdest things in the game. One, at the end, someone criticized him and said, "You're explaining the Super Bowl to us like we've never heard of what the Super Bowl is." He did do that. He did a 3-minute lecture on what the Super Bowl means. I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. That was completely idiotic.
Oh, man, this guy can't win. A new day for the Raiders. Get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining.
Sweeps. He's got the road trip blues. Left behind, feeling like he's bound to lose. Perloff's off to San Antonio. Can't believe his eyes. But Bogusch stuck at home. His heartache amplifies. Betting against Wembyama, Perloff took the fall. But it's Bogusch left behind, feeling 10 feet tall. A loser in his own right, can't catch a break. Road trip dreams shattered, for goodness sake. Wakes up at dawn, coffee brewing, screen turned on. He's got a favorite show to see, the Maggie and Perloff Symphony. Oh, pine needles are turning tight to infinity. Living life in 20-second views, scrolling through, he's got no time to lose. Maggie and Perloff, Daily's keeping score, YouTube's his love. He's begging for more, double tap, clicking on that video.
Maggie's got some Giant feet, they're the talk of the town. When she walks the sidewalk crack, she's bringing buildings down. She tried to buy some shoes, but they said no way. Now she's wearing boat sails just to get through the day. Maggie's giant feet, they're a real big deal. Stepping on poles, creating legs for real. Maggie's giant feet, they make a mighty thud. But Maggie just laughs, hey, it's all in good fun. She went to a dance, cleared out the floor. Her feet made the music, folks yelled for more.
Of all the new head coaches that have been introduced, Perloff, over the last few days, Pete Carroll with the Raiders is by far the most interesting to me. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. You can keep your Dallas Cowboys with Brian Schottenheimer.
That one for sure.
Yawn. Liam Cohen with the Jaguars. He's
Spicy.
got a lot to prove. We have no idea, really. He's no track record, very little track record in the NFL, and no track record as a head coach ever on any level. We'll see about Aaron Glenn and the Jets, but, the Jets are where all coaches kind of go to flounder and flop around, and we'll see what happens with Aaron Rodgers of it all. But see, here's the Carroll thing that's interesting. Pete Carroll's 73 years old.
Yeah.
Wouldn't know it by looking at him. He's got so much energy, so much enthusiasm, looks 50. And he is saying yesterday that this team has to win right away. And if you had just told me Pete Carroll's coming, it's going to take a couple years, he's going to build up the culture, figure out what's happening with the quarterback situation. But that was far from the message that came from Las Vegas yesterday. It was, I don't have that kind of time, not because of his health or anything, just because I think the vibe in the Raiders is we can have a quick fix here, and I don't see what that quick fix is.
Definitely not. I actually didn't think you were going that direction because you sounded excited about Carroll.
Well, I am, but...
But, it's again, Tom Brady's going to solve this quarterback thing. I think that's too hard. I don't even know if Tom Brady, even if he turns out to be the best executive ever, sometimes this quarterback thing comes down to luck.
Mm-hmm. Ask
Not
John
Andrew
Elway
luck.
about it.
Like
Not
Andrew
just
luck.
Andrew.
It's really hard to think your way into a solution at this position. You kind of have to stink and get a high draft pick in the right year.
Well, and that's not really where the Raiders are, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, exactly.
Well,
they just missed where they need to be.
And that was last year. I think they had an opportunity, but they
could have at least fully tanked this year and got in the Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders business. But they didn't even, Antonio Pierce wanted to win too badly.
Well, the other part, too, is I'm sure Antonio Pierce thought that this is the only way I keep my job. Lo and behold, he wasn't keeping the job anyway. We'll see about Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. These are definitely the two guys who are the best of this class, but they wouldn't have been at the top of last year's class if they were coming out last year. And I just don't know if there's the slam dunk, wow, look at Jaden Daniels coming off a Heisman, and wow, look at Caleb Williams, the promised one, and even Drake May, who's got all the tools and intangibles. I don't think there's that kind of excitement over Shedeur and Cam Ward. I think there's a lot of, we'll wait and see with Shedeur. How is Dion going to get involved in this? And we know we haven't heard the last of Dion. Is he going to try to steer him to a team? And for Cam, fantastic year with Miami, record-setting year, but there are questions whether he holds on to the ball too long and all the other football things that we ask about guys at that level.
I mean, Cam Ward started out as the quarterback at Incarnate Word in San Antonio. He's definitely got an unusual path here. I think that the deal with Shedeur is he hasn't played consistent top competition. It's a Big 12 quarterback. But back to the Raiders for a second. My biggest issue with all of this, and you made a compelling case for Pete Carroll, it's that division. It is such a hard assignment, even for Tom Brady, even for Pete Carroll. How do you build a winner when you have Sean Payton, Jim Harbaugh, and Andy Reid staring at you? I almost feel like Tom Brady should have bought into another team.
I don't think that opportunity was there. I don't think his relationship with the Crafts is I don't think it's leading towards partial ownership. And you mentioned it, Kansas City 15-2 this year. They're going to the Super Bowl for the third straight time. Chargers 11-6.
Well, against all awful teams, but yes.
Denver Broncos 10-7.
Again, against a terrible schedule. But yes.
Okay, well, the Raiders had that schedule, and they went 4-13.
Well, I think the issue about Harbaugh and Payton is they're just going to get better and better and better as they build their rosters. So you're going to it's going to be a tough assignment. The goal to have Pete Carroll is you win immediately. Like, man, you're going to need some time here.
Here is Pete Carroll from yesterday, his introductory press conference with the Raiders, saying how they are trying to win right away.
You all wondering about timelines and all that. It took us a few years to get to the very top of the last couple programs I was with. We're starting right now, going for it immediately. We don't have some timeline. We got to make it 5 or 6 years down the road. That's not what we're thinking. We're going to start right now to go after it and build this team as quickly as we can.
Yeah, again, I love Pete Carroll as a coach, but it sounds like they're looking for shortcuts, Band-Aids. Like, are they trying to do one of those, we're going to build a dream team through free agency, something your Philadelphia Eagles did to notable, what's the opposite of acclaim? And we were never able to live up to those expectations. Yeah. I feel like he's setting himself up here for, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like this is the way. He already laid it out. How we did it at USC, how we did it in Seattle. It took a long time. And so now I'm going to throw all of that out the window, and I'm going to try to make this happen in the next, 12 to 24 months?
Yeah, I mean, this a long time ago, so I might have it a little wrong, but I think when Belichick got to New England, he brought in all sorts of special teams players. He built around the margins. I remember, I don't know if Izzo was there, but you think of that first Patriots team, they were built like top to bottom. It wasn't like they brought in high dream team names, but they brought in all these free agents who played the right way. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's what Pete Carroll's talking about. We're going to, let's see, he started, and he did have pretty quick success in Seattle. He started out in 2010, 7-9, then another 7-9 year, then 11-5, 13-3. So maybe if you did 3 years, I'm sure Raiders fans would take that. If he's talking about next year, that's impossible.
I don't know who's playing quarterback for the Raiders, but I'll tell you what, hearing them yesterday, it makes me think that they're going to be someone who goes after a Sam Darnold, or who else is even Kirk Cousins, somebody who's going to be on the market who has some kind of experience. Because if you're going to lay out that kind of timeline, then you're not looking in the draft. That's for sure.
No, and I don't think they have, I mean, the draft would be, is that Jalen Milroe or Jackson Dart? There really isn't an obvious choice. And Jalen Milroe, say you did draft him at number 6 overall, he's not going to be ready to go immediately. So timeline-wise, it doesn't work out at all.
855-212-4227. Curious to hear from the Raider fans. It's funny because I think you got this big buildup of Pete Carroll taking the job. Exciting, finally an adult in the room, all that. Not that Antonio Pierce wasn't an adult, but you know what I mean. Finally get someone with a winning pedigree as a coach in the room. That's how I should have put that. But then you hear the message yesterday is we're going to win right away and we're going to build this thing. How? You don't have a roster that's anywhere close to being this type of contender. I mean, you don't even have Devontae Adams still on the roster. Like, I don't see.
You got Max Crosby, and that's it. And Colton Miller, I guess, is a good lineman. But, hey, let me ask you a question. What do you think about the Brady of it all? Do you think he can pull a miracle out of the bag? I mean, they found him in the 6th round. Maybe he'll find somebody like himself.
I mean, Brady's one of the all-time stories. That's like to say you're going to replicate Brady, or maybe Pete Carroll replicating Russell Wilson and finding him into a later round. But again, you're telling your fan base we're going to win right away. And then you're going to say, by the way, we're going to do it with Jackson Dart.
Well, maybe. I mean, who knows?
Okay, but what great infrastructure does this rookie quarterback have around him? We just talked about the team doesn't have a ton of talent. So that's what I'm curious about. There was a surprise moment yesterday in Pete Carroll's press conference.
Okay.
Yeah. He's up there with John Spytek, who's also the general manager, was Brady's teammate at Michigan and actually the guy who recruited Brady to go to Tampa Bay, and that worked out well for everybody. But all of a sudden, here comes some disruption from the back of the room.
And here in Las Vegas, to do it in this setting right here, where people can't wait to come see us, they can't wait to see what we're all about, wherever our fans come from. We do want to fill our stadium up with our guys. I know that we have a good draw for people from out of town. There you go. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, Mark, settle down a little bit.
So that was Pete Carroll. Give you a guess who was screaming Raiders? I thought they let someone in from the black hole.
Take care of y'all chicken.
Yep, Marshawn Lynch.
Take care of y'all mentals.
Maybe things have been patched up with those Seahawks teams because I thought there was still some lingering animosity because of what happened against the Patriots in the Super Bowl. But if Marshawn Lynch is at the introductory press conference and Russell Wilson is talking about how he's talked to Pete Carroll lately, then maybe it is water under the bridge.
Yeah, I mean, there are also reports that Russell tried to get Pete Carroll fired in Seattle, which was the next generation of Seattle issues. I didn't know that. Were Lynch and Carroll at odds? I know he didn't hand the ball to him. I know Sherman hated Carroll. He's talked about, or Sherman was mad at everybody. Marshawn Lynch has never been, that guy's never mad at anyone. He seems to be like the happiest guy in America.
Well, considering that Super Bowl, he definitely walked off the field before the game was over.
Oh, yeah, but
he told Shannon Sharp on his podcast that he thinks that the Seahawks could have been a dynasty that got cut short because the team could never come back together fully after the Malcolm Butler at the goal line Super Bowl.
Oh, okay. I actually was aware because he just seems so jolly all the time. He's like, he's always showing up everywhere, being happy. With Sherman, Richard Sherman spends hours and hours and hours just eviscerating everyone. I thought Marshawn Lynch, I'm not surprised that obviously grew up in Oakland. I guess he's a Raiders fan, I'm imagining.
Assume. Yeah, Richard Sherman, I think, maybe originally took the job with Amazon just as a platform to throw haymakers at Russell Wilson. It's possible. Maybe that's not like 100% of the reason why he took the job, but it was not a non-zero number.
Yeah, that seems to be his jam. But he's actually really good. He had a lot of personal problems, right, when he took that job. But he's very, very good when he has it together. I got a name for quarterback, by the way.
Oh, go ahead. The Raiders were trying to solve their QB problem.
So the hottest name for their OC is Darrell Bevell, right? Longtime offensive coordinator.
Yep.
I think he might have been a head coach at one point. When Brett Favre left the Jets, who did he go to join?
Oh, is it Darrell Bevell?
Darrell Bevell in Minnesota. Who is leaving the Jets now?
Oh, Aaron Rodgers?
I just feel like the warm weather, the activities for older folks. Why not Aaron Rodgers for 1 year with Pete Carroll? If he wants to win instantly, that's the best old quarterback available. Him or Kirk Cousins, kind of very similar. How about Rodgers? I don't know if he's good buddies with Brady. Actually, I have no memory of them hanging out, but why not?
I love it. I think you're right. Now, I'm not sure that the Jets are done with Aaron Rodgers. It seems like the owner was, but maybe not.
I don't think so.
Maybe Rodgers is perfect. I think he and Brady do get along. They did that golf thing together. It was Brady and Rodgers against Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes.
That was very recent,
too. But that was also like to raise money for charity. Who knows if these guys really get along?
No, the friendships on those charity golf things, like that's why Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes are blood brothers. I mean, those guys are closer than anybody. No, and that Bevel runs, I assume, the Packers offense from back in the day. I think this makes perfect sense.
Well, EJ would be happy because it was get Aaron Rodgers out of your hair as a Jets fan.
Yeah, get him out.
I do. I mean, listen, the way they're talking about it, I said Sam Darnold or Kirk Cousins, you're right. Maybe Aaron Rodgers is the solution in Las Vegas. I don't hate it. Again, what's the roster around him, though? Like, we just watched Aaron Rodgers with the Jets with a not terrible roster, and they couldn't do diddly.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, he would be crazy to take this job and go to be the Raiders' quarterback.
Well, one thing, it is indoors.
That's the only thing that I thought about that would be good for him. And then you got a game on the road against the Chargers every year, which is also indoors. So there's that aspect, but we talk about the offensive line's okay, so that's one good thing. But they don't have any weapons. And we just saw Aaron Rodgers play with a team that we thought had good weapons, and the Jets won 5 games.
Little cap space, maybe get someone with them. Maybe Devontae. Devontae's still got that beautiful house on the corner. Why not?
He just asked for a trade. It hasn't even been a full season.
That Christmas ornament will be recent all of a sudden.
But actually, he loves the area. He loves Vegas.
Who doesn't? So do I.
I think his family still is there, isn't it?
Yeah, but he kind of, blew his way out of town. Do you think that some relationships were severed?
He spent about a year and a half longer in Vegas than anyone would expect him to. No, I think he's okay there.
Maddie said he would go back. Is that true? Do they want him back, though?
Well, I mean, I think him and Rod, the idea that they're a package is going to be out there this offseason. I don't know if it's true. But EJ brings a good point. Like, who are your receivers? You got to – you do have Brock Bowers.
I'll tell you one thing, though. I think I saw this with the Jets. I think also if you're bringing Aaron Rodgers in there, I think the stupidest thing you could do is pair him with Devontae Adams again. Because I watched how that tore apart the Jets locker from the end of the season. Garrett Wilson – basically was like, if this guy's back, I want out. Like, it's because there's that synergy with them, and Aaron Rodgers feels like when all is lost, let me just force feed Devontae Adams and good things may happen. And I don't think these guys are not what they were 5 years ago when they were winning MVPs and going to the NFC Championship game.
Well,
like, these guys are a diminished version of themselves.
Wait, I saw him have a 200-yard game
against the Jacksonville Jaguars,
who were not playing for much. Here's the thing about, I think, what Rodgers, let's just play this out. Say he would go to the Raiders, because yesterday at the press conference, Pete Carroll was talking about this real expedited timeline. We got to win right away. He's telling Max Crosby, you got to go out there and recruit and get free agents to come here and all of that stuff. Then Rodgers can't run the offense where the receivers have to read his mind. And it's like, if I wiggle my finger this way, it means this. And if I waggle my finger that way, but that was last week, and now this week I'm going to wiggle, not waggle, and waggle. It's like, it's too much. You got to run something that everybody can get the hang of quickly, because that's one thing also that sunk them in New York. You actually had some talent with wide receiver, and they were never on the same page. It's like, have you ever met Garrett Wilson? And I think it was because all that pre-snap Rodgers hand signals just took way too long for other guys to figure out.
Well, also that offense just doesn't, whatever Nathaniel Hackett was running, it just doesn't promote easy completions. There's no motion.
Right.
There's no, everything is, we're going to read a defense and you're going to run a route based on what Aaron Rodgers thinks you should run in that moment. And like you said, it's hard to pick up on that. I think the Shanahan offense, like Perloff talks about, is very friendly to that, because it's kind of easy to pick up, I think, for a lot of receivers.
Well, Rodgers comes from the McCarthy, Reed, West
but
Coast
the thing
offense,
is,
right?
LaFleur basically wants to run that, and Rodgers basically was doing his own thing. The reason why he likes Love is because Love is just running the offense, right? Like, that's what they've been saying, and they've been doing it with receivers that a lot of people didn't think were that good, and now those guys have been okay. So I watched in New York, I saw this offense take shape with Aaron Rodgers being basically the head of it. It just does not work.
Well, I disagree in one sense. Once he got healthy for a second, look at his numbers the second half of the season. He dramatically improved because he wasn't limping around the field. I think he got way better. Look at his stats in the last 8 games.
The only thing about that, though, is it was too little too late also at that point, because even though his stats were good, they still weren't winning.
Right, but it showed marked improvement is my point.
That's fine. But again, Pete Carroll yesterday was very clear. First season, they got to turn this thing around right now. I think you got to simplify things. As much as Rodgers may not want to hear that, he may have to. 855-212-4227. So that's a little on the Raiders.
Always interesting.
I think it's the most interesting hire of the cycle.
Yeah, but I can't wait to see to turn off the Chargers-Raiders game in Week 9 when they're 2-7.
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
You don't want Jim Harbaugh, Pete Carroll 2.0? We saw them Seattle versus the 49ers. Like, this was fun.
I heard, by the way, I listened to a lot of Mark Davis. I heard same things that I've always heard from the Raiders. He actually spent a big chunk of time talking about how they got screwed over with John Gruden. Like, he did a 10-minute interview. I guess he doesn't do a lot of interviews, and he talked to the press, and nothing's going to change there.
Gee,
I know Tom Brady's there. I'm telling you, this is going to be the same team in 5 years that it is now. I do not believe in the Brady transformation. I'm on the record.
Screwed over by John Gruden. I wonder whose fault that was.
Yeah, right. Yeah, John Gruden had nothing to do with it. You put it in the emails. I mean, I guess you're surprised that they saw the light of day, but I don't know.
Listen. I didn't say it. Mark Davis said it. Yeah, I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah.
Are you surprised?
No, it's just funny. I mean, he hired John Gruden. This idea, oh, man, we got
No.
John
He
Gruden
said the
situation.
NFL screwed them by taking away John Gruden. Not
No,
he was no.
Mark Davis wanted to
You
keep
misheard
John
me.
Gruden even after those emails were released.
You misheard me. I mean, he said that Gruden was stolen from them from the NFL in so many words.
Oh, yeah,
he was mad at the NFL, not mad at Gruden.
Yeah.
He's like, this was all going to work, but they took Gruden away from me.
How about just a quick thing? Gruden now is working for Barstool, and they watch like live games, and he's there and he's giving commentary, and he was lamenting about the commercials.
Yeah, so
I'm like,
funny.
are you serious? Thank you.
That was
Start
so
a
funny.
petition.
Because I think his whole life he's been watching film where he didn't have to watch commercials.
It's like there's so many commercials. Like, yeah, John, it's tough on this side.
That was, by the
And
way,
they all have Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce in them.
that was one of the most genuine moments I've seen from a coach. Like, he was us on that couch.
Could you imagine John Gruden saying, Bundle Rooski, Bundle Rooski?
I still can't believe Andy Reid says it.
Jerry's eating rice.
That one I like a little more. The bundle Ruski, I've thought about that. How did that come together where they're like, all right, coach, this is what we're going to need you to say. And he's like, all right, I'm on board.
Yeah. He didn't care. It's weird.
His eyes are so bugged out when he says it too. It's so displeasing.
Later.
It's so weird.
I just don't see how that got through. Like, did Mahomes call in a favor? Was he like, Coach, I really need this from you?
Well, they did the mustache one, and I guess Andy Reid was like, I kind of like this. I'm getting kind of some good attention. Then they pushed it too far.
I think it just, the envelope has just been blown to bits.
I mean, there is a funny commercial when Eli goes, I know Peyton goes, Eli, now you have to be a quarterback like me and your dad. You're not going to get to be a kicker. That is laugh out loud funny. That commercial, I don't know what the heck they're doing. It doesn't make any sense to me.
No idea what they're selling.
Goes, the FanDuel kick of destiny, what Rob Gronkowski was doing.
But just a line, Eli, now you're going to have to be a quarterback like me and dad, and you're not going to get to be a kicker.
Peyton, I can make my own decisions. I'm 44 years old now.
I'm sorry, the Eli little brother joke will never get old.
855-212-4227. Okay, so the Raiders and Pete Carroll, he's talking about turning this around quickly. Can he do it? And what about Perloff's idea to bring Aaron Rodgers in as a quick fix? Again, 855-212-4227. We didn't get to it yesterday because there was so much going on. The M&P 500 comes your way next. Whose stock is up and whose stock is down after a big weekend?
Down in Music City, there's a man named Jay. He's tuned in to Maggie and Perloff every single day. Life's been a battle, he's been losing for years, but now his motto's clear: no more losing tears. He's been down, he's been low, but now he's ready for a brand new show. Jay's got questions, can't let it slide. Who's running the YouTube on the Infinity side? Jay in Nashville calling out the crew. Who's behind the curtain? He demands the truth. Peter Bummelotti's ghosting, no work in sight, but Jay's got the Maggie and Perloff show to make it right. Make it right. Been a loser so long, my losing's all gone. Tapped out my bad luck, it's time to move on. From his couch in Nashville, he's solving the case. Infinity's mystery, he's all over the place. He's got theories, he's got plans. Is it Moose or Perloff behind the cams? And Bellotti, forget it, he's MIA. Jay's the one who's showing up today. Jay in Nashville calling out the crew. Who's behind the curtain? He demands the truth. Peter Bummelotti's ghosting, no work in sight, but Jay's got the Maggie and Perloff show to make it right. Make it right. Jay's turning his luck, rising up the ranks. Infinity answers, he's storming the banks. Bellotti might miss it, but Jay's always there with a sharp-eye question and a comfy chair. Jay in Nashville calling out the crew. Who's behind the curtain? He demands the truth. Peter Bummelotti's ghosting, no work in sight, but Jay's got the Maggie and Perloff show to make it right. Jay in Nashville, he's taking the stage. From loser to legend, he's turning the page. Infinity's mystery, Bellotti's no show. Jay's the real MVP of the Maggie and Perloff show. Make it right. Down in Music City, there's a man named Jay. He's tuned in to Maggie and Perloff every single day. Life's been a battle, he's been losing for years, but now his motto's clear: no more losing tears. He's been down, he's been low, but now he's ready for a brand new show. Jay's got questions, can't let it slide. Who's running the YouTube on the Infinity side? Jay in Nashville calling out the crew. Who's behind the curtain? He demands the truth. Peter Bummelotti's ghosting, no work in sight, but Jay's got the Maggie and Perloff show to make it right. so long. My losing's all gone, tapped out my bad luck. It's time to move on. From his couch in Nashville, he's solving the case. Infinity's mystery, he's all over the place. He's got theories, he's got plans. Is it Moose or Perloff behind the cams? And Bellotti, forget it, he's MIA. Jay's the one who's showing up today. Jay in Nashville calling out the crew. Who's behind the curtain? He demands the truth. Peter Bellotti's ghosting, no work in sight. But Jay's got the Maggie and Perloff show to make it right.
45 seconds
make it right. Jay's turning his luck, rising up the ranks. Infinity answers, he's storming the banks. Bellotti might miss it, but Jay's always there with a sharp-eye question and a comfy chair. Jay in Nashville calling out the crew. Who's behind the curtain? He demands the truth. Peter Bellotti's ghosting, no work in sight. But Jay's got the Maggie and Perloff show to make it right.
15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The M&P 500 on the Infinity Sports Network.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Ethos Life, the easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes, up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam, just a few health questions. Get your free quote at checkethos.com. Not available in all states. All right, M&P 500, stock up, stock down. Maggie, get us started. Whose stock is up after a classic sports weekend?
You know, amazing sports weekend, and I got to say, I got to eat a lot of crow on this one. I said he would be the first coach fired this season. And in fact, he's one of the 2 coaches in the Super Bowl, and that is Nick Sirianni. Still don't know what he does around there. Still not sure.
He's the vibes guy.
I guess. And who am I to argue with it? Stock up Nick Sirianni. I thought that he was just dead man walking, and they couldn't wait to replace him. But it turns out he's going to 2 Super Bowls as a head coach. Pretty awesome. Stock up Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with the numbers now. I'm not sure I can explain it either, but I'm starting to think like he might be like the secret savant genius coach. He might be the second best coach in the entire NFL behind Andy Reid right now. Okay, I'm going with a similar stock up. And this one's going to come off as obnoxious in hometown, but I got to give Eagles fans in the city of Philadelphia a gigantic stock up. They all crowded on the street, and yes, there was violence, and some people were hurt, but it could have been much worse. I was surprised. I was waiting for the headlines of terrible things. Yes, people fell off poles and were injured, and yes, that people were arrested all over the place. This was relatively benign for a Philadelphia mob scene. No? It could have been worse. Point to me the most embarrassing thing, except for they ripped a cap off a Commanders fan's head. That was ridiculous. But generally, I've seen more embarrassing Eagles weekends, Maggie.
Because nobody ate horse poop?
Yeah, it's a very, very low bar. It's a very low bar. Stock up means the stock is up. It was a penny stock, and now it's worth 3 pennies.
There's no bar. You don't get credit for this because you guys didn't.
We didn't come in Monday morning talking about how poorly behaved the Eagles fans were. That is a gigantic victory.
We could have.
Not really. They all crowded into Broad Street and... Yeah, it wasn't so... Thank you, Mayor. It wasn't so bad.
It wasn't so bad.
Yeah, this is how the stock market works. Stock up and stock down. Sometimes there are companies that are in the toilet for years, and then they have a decent quarter. That's what we had on Sunday night.
A little bump.
Agles.
Bogusch got it right. Okay. Well, if the stock goes up, then the stock's got to come down. And embarrassing moments at introductory press conferences is a cottage industry in sports. Gives us some of our most amazing memories. Liam Cohen, you might not know much about him because he's never been a head coach anywhere. Trying to ingratiate himself into the loyal fans in Jacksonville by giving him a chant.
Duval.
Ooh.
Duval.
Swing and a miss.
Duval.
Ooh. Nope. That's not how they say it at all.
Duval.
It's only slightly better without the visual of his creepiness saying it.
It's not a good look for him. And he'll get past it. And if they come out and win their first 3 games or whatever, it'll be fine. But it is just awful to watch. It makes my skin crawl.
Duval.
I mean, is it worse than Sirianni's opening press conference?
Well, he was just talking about how he's got fertilizer and he's got to plant everything in the fertilizer. That was silly.
Yeah, I mean, I think you spent a year making fun of Sirianni, and now 2 Super Bowls. So
I know. I just said I ate the crow. But Liam Cohen, it's just he offered this too. No one was like, hey, do you want to give the fans a little Duval chant?
Yeah.
He was like, here I go. He got up there 2 minutes into his press conference, and that's how they say it.
You know what's funny about yesterday? Everyone was calling Liam Cohen this giant nerd because of the way he presented himself. Like, you ever seen highlights of Liam Cohen? That guy had a cannon. He was a total baller as a football player, which is so funny because he kind of looks like a nerd. Almost like as if I was a head coach.
I mean,
but I'm like, yeah, like this guy's a football guy, and then you like see he's like, I think he's an all-time leading passer at his college. Like,
yeah, do you remember where his college is?
Yeah, UMass, but he was throwing to Victor Cruz. Like, watch a highlight of him. He's incredibly athletic. It's the most bizarre thing you've ever seen. He looks like the least athletic head coach of all 32, right?
Yeah.
Nobody else see that?
And now he's like a horror movie character. Like he says that before he names you.
The last thing you hear before the battle axe just lands right on your head. Duval.
Yeah, before you're chained to the radiator in his basement, you hear Duval.
Well, I was surprised. Doesn't everybody like this hire? I thought this was like one of the top hires. I mean, it's kind of like you needed a fresh OC into that place, and you could not hire. You needed offense. Like, you definitely need somebody who can run something there.
The one thing I'm interested is, did Trevor Lawrence, was he the one who said, I want Liam Cohen?
I'm sure.
And I like Trevor Lawrence kind of standing up for himself because the Urban Meyer stuff was a disaster. Doug Peterson, just kind of
it was
didn't
okay.
work.
Yeah, it was okay.
They got the playoffs. They have an all-time great comeback in the playoffs, and then I don't know what happened, but something happened. And so I kind of like Trevor Lawrence, like taking some ownership of his career, if this is true. But we have no idea if he's going to be any good. And
well, yeah, but the trends point to like this is what works in the NFL right now. You know, Kevin O'Connell, all these guys. It's like the McVay army is doing really well.
Yeah, the only problem is I thought yesterday he came in, he's like, my number one and biggest priority is the quarterback. It's going to be all about the quarterback. And if I'm someone else on that team, it's like, hey, I get it.
Yeah.
Quarterback's important. He's making $250 million, but, it's a team sport.
Well, it's so funny because Ben Johnson said the exact same thing, literally word for word, and Tom Brady said the same exact thing in Vegas. All the intelligentsia right now is it all starts. The only way to get sustained success in the NFL is quarterback. And, you're right. That is an interesting, but what is the rest of the team? But they're all saying the same thing. There's got to be something there.
Who's your stock down?
Okay, my stock down is Dan Quinn, Commanders coach. I thought he was doing an amazing job this year, and he's the defensive guy. How do you let up all those points and still be great? I'm super high on Jaden Daniels, but now I'm a little worried about Dan Quinn, which I was not coming into that game. A lot of people are going after Cliff. For some reason, Cliff Kingsbury's always been an easy target, but did you guys walk away saying, that Dan Quinn thing again? Like, it just seems like there's something missing there.
I mean, Dan Quinn in big games.
Yeah, I know. I thought I actually came in this game and I was like, well, Dan Quinn, at least he's been here before. Like, he knows how to play in this game. And no, he's not good in big games.
Well, I think this is the thing. The Commanders were so ahead of schedule. I think that you'll give it a bit of a pass. But what was the biggest issue 2 years ago when the Dallas Cowboys, when Dan Quinn was defensive coordinator, lost to the Packers?
They got blown out in the playoffs.
And why?
They can't stop the run.
What happened against your Eagles?
Well, they can't stop the run. They actually couldn't stop the pass either. Jalen Hurts had the game of his life.
But I really think Dan Quinn gets a pass now because they obviously have the quarterback, and nobody expects them to be in the NFC Championship game. That's crazy.
No, I know, but it's just like he went from Coach of the Year kind of candidate to, oh, yeah, he's Dan Quinn. So I don't know. I'm just not sure about him.
Andrew Bogusch has headlines. Got any stock up, stock down?
I guess stock up for the Knicks.
94-70. Knicks lead the Grizzlies. Still 3.5 to go in the third quarter. Brunson step back right wing triple. Got another one. Jalen Brunson with 20. And he's knocked down 4 3-pointers.
What are we doing here? The Knicks, a 143-106 destruction of the Grizzlies last night. Second straight game scoring 143 for Brunson and friends.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. You see how we react on the bench. It's always fun when you see everyone out there playing well, playing great, and it's fun.
Whatever. The Knicks have won 4 straight overall. Memphis was on a 6-game win streak.
Oh, yeah.
Giannis and Dame each scored 35 as the Bucks coasted through Utah 125-110. Minnesota topped Atlanta 192, and the Cavs snapped their 3-game drought 110-91 over the Pistons. Jimmy Butler now on his 3rd suspension this season. The Heat have sent him home indefinitely as their staring contest continues. Butler apparently walked at a shoot-around yesterday after being told he was out of the starting lineup. His teammates then went out and fought off the Magic 125-119 in double OT.
Wait, can I ask another question? How could Jimmy Butler expect to be in the starting lineup? You've been a gigantic headache for this team for the better part of a month. You think you're going to waltz in there and be like, here you go. Would you like to play 40 minutes tonight?
I'm not sure
that's delusional. Only superstars can think this way.
I'm not sure that's what he's trying to achieve here. I don't think it's all about the starting lineup. I think it's about getting out of town, right? Just finding any excuse to get out of there.
Sure. So maybe he's like, oh, I'm not starting. I'm going to walk out. I'm going to storm out of here in a huff.
I think he was looking for a reason to storm out in a huff. He would have found something. You think it was because I'm not starting? I mean, how many times has he stormed? By the way, like, what do they need to see from him? Like, why do they keep bringing him back? I didn't know that he was unsuspended. Has he been playing?
No. He missed the 7 games. He played 2 or 3, then the 2-game suspension for missing the flight. I don't know if he played after that, and then yesterday happens.
You know, sometimes I don't have a lot of sympathy for professional athletes when it comes to distractions like this. Real life distractions, things going on in your personal life, I get, but they're able to compartmentalize. In this case, I get it. This is the stupidest thing that the team is doing, bringing him back, having him go, stupid flights, like, what do you think's going to happen? There's no way this ends well.
So the flight was his fault. Do we think the team did this yesterday hoping to get a response from him to then punish him again? You think they were poking the bear?
Oh, maybe. And he fed right into it.
Yeah. I don't know. Pat Riley's old school. I can see him just being like, you know what? Because you were suspended, now you're not starting. And like not caring whether or not Jimmy was going to blow up or not about it.
Man. NBA, come get some.
So this all is going to happen next Thursday at noon, right?
Probably.
Is it noon or 4?
I don't think it's noon. I think it's more later afternoon.
Okay.
Who do you think will be interviewing while this is going down?
That's a great question. I hope it's someone Miami related. Like I hope it's like Tyreek Hill or something like that, or like Tua Tagovailoa.
But I don't think, honestly, I don't think that Jimmy Butler gets traded headline is even going to be a big headline. And we were there at the Super Bowl when James Harden got traded to the Sixers. Like I think people are so over Jimmy Butler.
I was over James Harden. So were you.
Well, I mean, there was some meat left on the bone there with Jimmy Butler. There's just no way that anyone can get excited about this right now, right? I mean, Butler's 35. I think Harden was 30 at the time.
I mean, again, I would say if you say Jimmy Butler's going to the Celtics or he's going to the Thunder, I think people will be like, oh, snap, okay. This is a massive shift. Like, that's not going to happen. That's my issue with it, is it's going to take him going to a team that's already floundering to go on some magical run in the second half of the season. And you have to believe that that's possible at his age with those other guys he'd be playing with. It's just a lot of leaps I have to make to get excited about this.
Yeah. Bogusch, what else you got?
The Saints still need a head coach. They flew to Philly yesterday to interview Eagles OC Kellen Moore. The Lions need an OC with Ben Johnson gone, and Johnny Morton's apparently their focus. Morton was the Broncos' passing game coordinator this season. He was on Dan Campbell's staff before that and has run offenses for the Jets and USC during his coaching career. Cooper Flagg being unimpressive again last night.
Cooper comes to set a screen. Proctor turns it down, sends it to Cooper on the right. Thought about a 3. Holding it. Steps to the top of the key. 12 to shoot. He'll take it. Hit it! And he's fouled! How about that?
Anybody can do that. David Shoemate from Learfield.
Flagg beat NC State.
Flagg scored 23 of his 28 in the second half. His second-ranked Duke did beat NC State 74-64.
I actually watched every second of this game. There is an issue with Cooper Flagg.
What is it?
Has anyone watched his mother? Does anyone know about this? She stands over the huddle from the third row and stands up and is listening to the whole huddle. And apparently she coaches him like almost during the game. This is the most interventionist college mom I've ever seen in my life. I was laughing so hard. The announcers were talking about it. They're like, they're the nicest people, but do not mess with Cooper Flagg's mom. Like, she is like a super coach on the floor.
The basketball genes come from her?
I think so.
Both parents?
I think she might be. Oh, they're both. Well, his dad kind of looks like him.
Yeah.
He's gigantically tall. But his mom she sits, and then maybe I have this wrong, but 2 rows behind the huddle and is standing during the timeout. And she's awesome. The announcer said, like, they are really, really involved and really nice Maine people.
Kelly Flagg played at the University of Maine, scored 1,200 points in high school, was a team captain.
Yeah.
Made the NCAA tournament.
Is she a coach? They were implying that she had coaching background as some kind of principles. She basically taught Cooper everything he knew.
You know what they say about those basketball moms from Maine? You better watch out.
Yeah.
Is that what they say?
Oh, big time.
How many basketball moms come from Maine?
Just one, Cooper Flagg's.
Just Kelly Flagg?
Can I give you guys a quick trivia? Because I'm studying college basketball. I'm going to be ready for March.
That's the answer to every question.
Prairie View A&M.
Where do you think last year's darling DJ Burns is playing right now? The NC State big man.
Oh, yeah. I love DJ Burns.
Yeah, I loved it too. They flashed a graphic of where he was.
State.
Turkey.
Nope. Close.
Iran?
Nope.
Saudi Arabia.
No, it's South Korea.
South Korea.
Oh, wait, Turkey's close?
Yeah, well, I mean, just like a random country. I just that guy was the best player in college basketball last year, and he can't even sniff the end of an NBA roster.
Not that. He's not even in Europe.
I know he's in South Korea. I'm like, that guy was unguardable for a month, and now he can't. I thought he would be a borderline NBA player. No?
Well, not yet.
I just think it just points out how hard it is to make the NBA, and Bronny is there.
Bronny actually dropped 31 in a G League game the other day.
Put somebody on a poster.
He had a dunk that was ridiculous.
Yeah, I saw that dunk. Wow, 31. Oh, maybe there's something there.
I saw somebody breaking that down, that the G League plays less defense than the NBA, so there's almost impossible to digest what anyone's doing in that league.
It's facts.
Now, he's better. He looks more confident. But him scoring 30 in the G League is, I don't know what, in 11 in an NBA game?
Look at that. That'd be amazing if he got 11.
Randomly?
True.
Wait, I'm sorry. Back to Kelly Flagg for a second.
Oh, sure.
Cooper Flagg's mom.
Yeah.
So I'm on her Twitter feed right now. Are we taking her into consideration when you're drafting him? Like, we've got a vocal mom on our hands.
No, but apparently she's lovely. What the announcer was saying. Like, she's super cool.
While she's cursing out John Shire.
Right.
She's a lovely woman.
Except for the 40 minutes that a basketball game is happening in college.
I made a bunch of assumptions based on about 14 seconds of footage that the dad's sits back and lets the mom do the work. It's one of those couples. I don't know if you guys are like, she's the one, like, dad's like, I can't help you with Kelly. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I apologize to my wife.
Yeah.
She's a bit of a nut job.
She looks like, not nut job, but she looked like she was ready to jump out on the court and cover somebody. Like, she was really intense, which is cool. I mean, that's how I would be as a parent. I mean, why do you think Cooper Flagg's awesome? I think it's Kelly Flagg.
So she's just intense, not overbearing? Well, it's not Tom Marinovich.
There's this visual of her leaning sort of over the huddle. I'm like, what is happening here? Is she listening to John Shire talk to the team? It seemed that way.
Didn't Iverson's mom sit in the front row and yell at people?
Probably.
I don't think she was calling plays.
She was braiding his hair on the bench.
Yeah,
Marbury's mom, too?
That is a sports tradition like no other, right? Like the mom's getting involved or dad's getting overly involved. If you were a coach or an owner, would you want parents around?
I'd ban them.
What?
I'd ban them is crazy.
Ban them into the suite.
Oh, that's
here,
harsh.
I've got a nice suite for you to sit 70 rows up.
I bet you NIL makes it even worse, too, because the parents are probably like, hey, let's get some money. And, oh, my God.
Cooper's Car Wash in Durham, North Carolina.
You think Kelly's the general manager?
Probably, yeah.
Oh, man. I didn't know about Kelly Flagg.
Yeah, no, it was my reporting last night. I didn't know about it either.
Reporting.
Yeah. Cooper did have a nice two-handed dunk I thought you guys were going to bring up, too.
Think about what Perloff said. I actually watched every minute of that game, and there's one big problem, and it's Cooper Flagg's mom.
I know where this was going. I had the dump button ready.
Yeah. NC State's not great this year, and they kind of pushed Duke, who's number 2 in the country, whatever. We all have to, what is it? The game's going to be over on Sunday. We're all going to have to focus here, people.
I've been focusing, Pearl.
Whatever. Shut up, EJ. We're all going to have to focus here. It's time to learn. I guess the SEC is good at basketball this year. That's what I'm hearing out there on the streets.
So much more to do, including somebody's futures hanging in the balance in terms of the NFL. We get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
What the is Aaron Rodgers up to today?
Not exactly sure his coordinates right now. Maybe at the Malibu house. Perloff, you know he doesn't get good cell reception at the Malibu house. Everybody knows
cell
that.
reception.
Everyone except for the Packers front office, apparently. But that's old business. New business is that Aaron Rodgers' new head coach was meeting the media yesterday. That'd be Aaron Glenn. And he said the Jets have communicated with Rodgers, but as far as a decision, not so fast.
We're looking forward to that process. I can't tell you how long that process will be. But the thing is, we're going to make sure we get the right answer. And we're not going to rush to this answer, because we're going to get the right answer.
Okay. More from Aaron Glenn saying that the Jets' rebuild is much, much larger than just the quarterback, Aaron Rodgers.
Here's what I do know. Aaron Rodgers will be talked about. It will be talked about. We've already texted that communication with Aaron Rodgers. And as we continue to look at the roster, we'll make decisions accordingly. And that's with a number of people, right, on the team.
Did he say text? We've already texted with Rodgers? Has Rodgers texted back?
I saw a report that they're in talks.
Mm.
So
Didn't you tell Adam Schefter, lose my number?
It's a two-way thing. Yeah.
Let's hear from Woody Johnson, who's the owner of the Jets, says he will leave the Rodgers decision to the new regime.
I'm going to leave that to them. You know, they've got to take a look at how the team's composed and what they think they need and put all that together.
Okay, more from Johnson saying he would welcome Rodgers back if the regime wants him back.
Absolutely. Yeah, if he wants him, if they want him back, Aaron's a talent for sure. He's a Hall of Famer.
You definitely wanted him benched at one point during the season. You know, nobody's ever really cleared up, Perloff, the friction between Rodgers and the owner and how much was there and did it ever get resolved?
Yeah, I mean, we know that Rodgers is buddies with his brother, Chris, right? You know, that the game they wanted to bench him after the Broncos, I think there is an argument where Woody said, he's hurt, why are we playing him? I mean, because, you know, why? Because he was hurt. He was not himself. And that day was particularly rainy. That was a bad day for an old man like me and Aaron Rodgers. Actually, you said this too. Like, he's clearly coming back because what on earth other option is there? They're not going with Tyrod Taylor. They're just not starting him week one. It's just, that seems unfathomable to me because, like, what's the option then? You're going to be a 7-10 team, and he'll win you some games, but he won't be bad enough to lose enough. It's got to be Aaron Rodgers.
It's either Aaron Rodgers or maybe some kind of, maybe they trade up. Maybe there's a Shador or Cam Ward. I have no idea.
It's going to be too hard for them to get up there.
They'd be picking 7th right now. I don't know. Las Vegas is picking 6th, and up until Pete Carroll's press conference yesterday where he started talking about winning right away, I thought maybe the Raiders would want to move up. You have no idea. That's all to be determined. I always said, or I've been saying, I think the Jets would be lucky to have Rodgers back because you need him for 1 year, right? And even you think he's going to be better this year.
I think he's going to be good. I think he'd be better at another team, but I think he'd be good with the Jets. I think he has a chance to be great somewhere else.
Okay. This is what is very, very important for how Aaron Rodgers can help the Jets this year. They have to make the playoffs. And starting Aaron Glenn in year one making the playoffs is the best thing that you can possibly do for him. Because I'm a little familiar with this market, and so is he. And the way that you ingratiate yourself into the market is you got to come in and you have to win immediately. If not, you're going to be in the dustbin of history like all the other horrible coaches. You've got to come in and at least make the playoffs right away, even if you sneak in as a 7th seed.
Why? The Jets have to make the playoffs next year? They're number 6. They're 5-12 last year.
I'm telling you, they have to make the playoffs.
Or what?
Or this Aaron Glenn, tenure is going to be off to a really bad start, and he probably won't survive it. I'm telling you, it's that important. Because everyone is waiting for it to fail. That's it. You're not going to get the benefit of the doubt here. You're not going to get the benefit of time. You're not going to get the benefit of anything. They have to make the playoffs the first year if he has any prayer of surviving.
But won't he get a new quarterback the second year?
He'll have to. But you at least have to stabilize things. It's important. 855-212-4227. We get back to the Chiefs in just a moment. And can they get the public back on their side before the Super Bowl? Talk about that next. M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Interesting Super Bowl matchup because who are you rooting for in this one? Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray and Perloff.
Hey, that's not fair.
Listen, I know who you're rooting for. America knows who that you're rooting for the Eagles because you're from Philadelphia. But to be honest, Perloff, Philly, it's kind of an acquired taste.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna pretend that Philadelphia Eagles fan base, particularly the Eagles, are unlikable because they're obnoxious.
Totally. At least you can self-scout.
Yeah.
And you understand that, not all of America is really going to get behind Philadelphia, but that would leave the Kansas City Chiefs, and because of their dominance, because of their stardom, because of a lot of reasons, they're not all that likable either. There's no underdog quality. All the things that we love to watch and root for as a society don't exist in this game. Now, I guess you could say you root for excellence and dominance and all that.
What about that? What about outstanding play? See, that's where I'm a little confused. Maybe it's because the Chiefs aren't a high-octane offense anymore, but don't we root for great athleticism and achievement on the field? I thought we rooted for that.
I think we do, but what kills the Chiefs there, fair or unfair, is it feels like too many that they get an assist from the refs.
But wait, I'm hearing different things. So is it the refs? Is it the success? Is it just, if the refs didn't give them these calls, would they be likable? Is it the fact that they're not underdogs? I kind of getting it is it any team that wins? Or are we going to find a reason not to like them?
I think there have been, air quotes, likable dynasties.
So the Chiefs,
I do.
Could the Chiefs do something to make themselves more likable?
I think they will be way respected if they win this game and do complete the three-peat. Then it's you have to tip your cap. To be fair, we should be tipping the cap anyway. I mean, it would be 4 Super Bowls for Mahomes and Reed. Yeah. And you really sound like a hater if you're not going to say, wow, this is quite an achievement. But I think that there's two things. The idea that they get some legit home cooking, and whether that's fully true or fully not true, that's become the story. That they've gotten helped out because of the referees, and I don't think people like that. And then on the second hand, I don't think people believe that they've really overcome tons of adversity.
But that should not necessarily be a requirement for liking a team.
I'm just saying that there's a front runner aspect of them that I think has become more evident now.
Which is funny because they don't have high picks compared to most teams.
Well, they can't because they're so
right. But I mean, Chris Jones is a later round pick. Yeah. Travis Kelce later round pick. They definitely they don't have traditional number one picks all over the field. Mahomes was, I know he was a top 10 pick, but he certainly wasn't Andrew Luck. He wasn't a sure thing.
No, he definitely wasn't. Yeah. But I think there's this idea that they came in, they were basically successful right away. Mahomes' first season as a full-time starter, they go to the AFC Championship game. I mean, they lose to Tom Brady on a D Ford offense, offsides. The next year, they're in the Super Bowl and winning it. So I think there's this idea that maybe they're a little front-runnery.
That's not what front-runnery means, is it? Front-runnery, I thought meant you're a front-runner you only like a team when, or you like me, I'm a front runner because I only pick teams that are about to win NBA championships to root for. That's front runner. What does front runner mean that they are instantly? It's a little bit different meaning of the word. Just because they were instantly successful, that's not something to ding someone for. And normally,
I think it helps. I think it doesn't help. I think it feeds.
But
into that.
Reed did build this team the right way. He got to KC and he built it with Alex Smith. And then they had, Mahomes had to sit there for a year It was kind of somewhat patience to it. It wasn't like boom, Patrick Mahomes arrives in town and they're in the Super Bowl. It took 2 years.
Well, I mean,
that's how the NFL works now. This rookie salary cap.
That's pretty close. I think Reed is maybe the most likable out of all of them because he was in Philadelphia. They kept getting to the championship game, home games, losing them, gets to the Super Bowl, loses to the Patriots, and then now finds himself in Kansas City in this unbelievable situation. I think people are a little bit more happy for Andy Reid.
But why would they be happy for Patrick Mahomes? What's not likable about him?
It's not that they're not happy for him. I think it's the fact that they've only known success. You know, it's like it's not like Michael Jordan had to get through the Celtics and get through the bad boy Pistons. It's not like the Warriors who, had to toil and switch coaches and finally find their footing with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Like they went through more adversity than I think Patrick Mahomes has, and I think that feeds into it. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying I think that's part of it.
I find that to be somewhat of a stretch on its own. And also, too, Mahomes definitely has the adversity back. All great quarterbacks have an adversity backstory. Mahomes is he was a 3-star. I mean, he was way much of a less of a big deal than some of these other guys. Like the number one, the surefire, like you look around, like Trevor Lawrence is the ultimate. Trevor Lawrence in 9th grade was tabbed as a generational NFL quarterback. Patrick Mahomes was not that story. I know his dad was a pro baseball player. He was a generational baseball prospect. He came out of nowhere in football. White House, Texas, not recruited by big schools, went to Texas Tech, lost games, and then he was this gem in the draft that no one even knew was going to go that high. And apparently Sean Payton and Andy Reid had been salivating over him for months, and no one even had it. When he went number 10, everyone was like, whoa, didn't see that coming because he wasn't great in college.
Yeah, and people thought he was the system guy, right? And it was just
air raid,
big arm, and because of the air raid. I remember I was there and interviewing Mahomes before, and no one could really understand why the traits. We always talk about traits in the draft, and why wouldn't his traits be one that would translate? He's got the different arm angles. He's clearly athletic. He's got the genetics, all that stuff.
It's really rare for a quarterback who doesn't win in college to get drafted that high. It was strange at the time and a lot of that has to do with Cliff Kingsbury. He was great at offense and didn't have everything around. He definitely does not have the normal trajectory of a top 10 pick. In my opinion. Also, like, what is a Patrick Mahomes? Is like, I know he sounds like Kermit the Frog, but he certainly is not like, he didn't come in the league and be like brash, if anything. He sort of like comes off as a likable superstar.
I don't think it has anything to do with his personality. I really don't. Even the voice. I think it helps him, by the way. I think it really cuts through the crowd noise. I think there's we say, it's like Kermit the Frog, and he'll say that. But to be fair, I think it's worked in his favor because it's so unique that I think his teammates can hear him particularly well. So maybe he even gets an advantage that way. And
it's somewhat harmless. We make fun of it. It's kind of a funny thing to joke about with nobody as a victim.
Yeah, it's silly. But as far as, reasons why the Chiefs may not be as likable as they were, I think one part is maybe it feels like Mahomes kind of got it all right away. And, you talk about the adversity. He was a 3-star.
Yeah.
Like, all right. He's still a Division I college scholarship playing in the Big 12 and then became a first-round pick. Like, it's not exactly the Tom Brady story. And even Tom played at a huge college.
Tom Brady, way bigger deal in college than Patrick Mahomes.
But, okay, so it's not the Cam Ward story where he's starting an incarnate word or something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's definitely not the easy trajectory. Patrick Mahomes had a lot of work to do to get where he was. Listen, Josh Allen went to JUCO, so did Aaron Rodgers, but I definitely think he's not like, oh gosh, he's been groomed to be a NFL quarterback from day one. Honestly, he really should have been a baseball player. I'll bet you he would have been amazing. He would probably be a quality middle reliever in the World Series.
Just like Pat Mahomes. 855-212-4227. Big Dave is our pal in Kentucky. Dave, you want to shed some light on why the Chiefs may not be so likable right now?
May not be so likable is probably the biggest understatement in the history of professional sports. There's a multitude of reasons, and I'll tell you, I don't think you guys have brought this up. I'll tell you where it turned for me. Remember the post-game handshake between Mahomes and Josh Allen back in 23?
Oh, we talked about it last hour, Dave. It was a sore loser moment from Mahomes. But to be fair, he hasn't had many of those, but it was noticeable.
No, but I tell you where it turned for most folks. Listen, it's not really a Taylor Swift thing, but the fact that the networks and the league, I mean, every time something happened on the field, the camera went to Taylor Swift. Everybody, people of that level are thought of as elitist anyway. Folks tune into football games to get away from the reality of life. They don't want to be have that rubbed in their face all the time. The fact that I'm not saying that the games are rigged, but that's just like the 4th down spot the other day. That was egregious. Would y'all agree that was egregious? I mean, there was a full yard differential between the two officials from where they were walking up from the spot. I mean, the official on the right was clearly, he had it across the yard, the line to gain by at least a half a yard. And then the official on the left, when he walks up, he had it a half a yard short. How could it be? I mean, that's the thing. And then they're on you can't turn a TV on without being Mahomes and Andy Reid and an insurance commercial. And it just goes on and on and on and on. I mean, that's the obvious reason.
Well, the funny thing is, I'm hearing 12 different reasons, which makes me think that there's not one reason. Every single person has a different reason for hating the Chiefs.
That makes all kinds of sense, McLovin. I mean, that all these different things. So everyone should love them because there's all the different reasons why everyone
Well, they're all
hates them.
thin. I mean, the fact that there's so many, everybody hates the Chiefs for a different reason. I'm like, hey, Big Dave, you know the Cowboys really well. Why did people used to hate the Cowboys? I'm actually asking. I don't know the answer. Why did we hate the Cowboys?
I mean, there's a multitude of reasons because to start with, they get all the media attention. They were self-proclaimed America's team. There was the arrogance about the team, with prime time and the playmaker and all those. There was a certain level of arrogance, and they enjoyed tremendous success.
So we just hate any successful. That's my point, Dave. We hate any successful team. We'll find reasons. That's what we're doing here.
It's not about that. I mean, it's not about that. It's really not. I think that most people, the common fan, the common Joe Blow fan like me, I don't have anything personal against Kansas City. Mahomes is a generational quarterback, but it's cumulative. It's all these things is why people like me dislike them so much. I mean, it's not just and Travis Kelce is someone that I would just love to squarely punch right between the eyes. I mean, he is the most arrogant, over the top. He's the one player. Mahomes, I love Mahomes. He's great. Travis Kelce is just, oh, my God. I got to throw something now. I got to hit something. I got to find something to kick. I mean, he's talking about the guy.
You jabroni! Oh, man, Dave, I mean, tell us how you really feel. I hope you don't get into a back alley with Travis Kelce, Dave, because I don't want anything bad to go down.
Well, hey, listen, whatever happens, happens. But seriously,
Dave wants to smoke.
How about them Cowboys? We're all idiots for actually thinking that they were going to do something that would move the needle in the right direction, like with Dion. As ridiculous as we thought that might be, how could we are such fools because this is the most Cowboy thing. I'm doing air quotes right now, by the way. The most ridiculous, mundane, vanilla thing. Would y'all agree?
No, Jerry said this is a huge risk, Dave, because you're hiring a guy no one else wanted.
Yeah, he may as well looked over at Brian Schottenheimer when he said that's like, hey, everybody's expecting you to fail, right? I mean, you've not did anything so far in your career, right? So this is the biggest risk ever. Right, Brian? I mean, what a bunch of morons.
Dave, mic drop. Fantastic call. Jerry was on one yesterday. This was even sell mode, Pearl, that Jerry only really reaches back for the fastball every now and again.
Yeah.
He had it yesterday, really trying to sell the fan base that this is a risky move that Jerry went outside the box to hire literally his offensive coordinator.
Back to the Chiefs for 1 second. I believe that any successful team is going to be hated. Doesn't matter if it's the Chiefs, the Steph Curry Warriors, they are very similar. Like, there's just never going to be a likable dynasty ever again.
Okay, Steph Curry Warriors, very, very different. I think they really started to become disliked when Kevin Durant joined the team. 73 wins, and then you add the biggest free agent. And by the way, you went to the Hamptons, you courted him. It turns out that Draymond Green had been texting with him all season long. That turned people off. That was a basketball reason, by the way.
People turned against Curry, too. They found him obnoxious.
I think people
The
turning
chewing
it
the mouth
the
guard.
mouth guard, the Petty King, Aisha, Night. I think that there was a little bit of backlash to Curry too.
But here's my point. I think
It was short-lived though.
I think any great franchise is going to have backlash because at the end of the day, all these things come down to visibility. And I think I'm not even trying to be controversial here. I think that every great dynasty from now on is going to be hated.
I think it's all different reasons because I don't think the Patriots dynasty was because of overexposure, though.
But they were hated.
No, they were hated, but because they were winning, they were curmudgeonly about it, they were smug, they were cheating, all that stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't because Tom Brady was in every single commercial or
No,
Bill Belichick was.
but-
They were far from that.
But you said smug. The common ingredient in that one would be arrogance.
Yep.
I think if you win too much, you're perceived as arrogant. And I think it's a reality. And name a likable. The only one I can think of is the Jordan Bulls. I just can't think of a likable dynasty in a long. I mean, there aren't a lot of dynasties now because of salary cap rules, but I just think dynasties are going to be unlikable from now on. I think we resent winners.
What about the Niners?
The what?
80s Niners? They were likable. I don't think anybody hated them.
Yeah. Well, okay, so
Very few
I'm
examples,
saying
I'm
now.
saying.
Yeah,
Right.
but that was before the Bulls.
Right.
Actually, I was telling Maggie, my recollection is the Steelers of the 70s were beloved and the Cowboys of the 70s were hated. They were the bad guys, maybe because I was in Philly, but the Cowboys would come out with the Darth Vader music, and the Steelers were like this shining light. I think they were like the underdogs, and for some reason, everyone loved the Steelers. Like that, there's Steelers fans everywhere because of Lynn Swann and Terry Bradshaw. But for some reason, the Cowboys were like the big evil Cowboys.
Yeah, and like Me Joe Green, that's a place where I think commercials helped.
Yeah,
He had like an iconic commercial at a time when you have one commercial. I don't know if he ever had a second one, just that Coca-Cola commercial was so influential.
But I think in today's society, I think it's going to be hard for a dynasty to be likable.
We know a lot about these guys
Yeah,
now.
you nailed it.
If Brittany Mahomes doesn't have an Instagram account, maybe we like her. Or maybe you like her anyway. That's fine. I was just saying we, like as a, not you and me necessarily, but you know what I'm saying. Like
Why?
We know a lot about the circle. Would we ever know about Patrick Mahomes' brother? From a police report probably, but we might not have an Instagram feed and we wouldn't feel like there's so much in our faces.
Definitely. One thing about Jordan's Bulls were likable because he was so spectacular. I kind of thought that maybe Mahomes would do that, but I don't think he is. Like he's so, guy throws left-handed, no-look passes. He's just maybe not doing enough of that. Like, is that enough to make them likable?
I don't know. It's funny because I always thought Jordan, there's like a fetishization, I'm not sure to say the word, about Jordan and how mean he was to his own teammates.
Yeah, I hear all that. But for me as a kid, I remember just like this human being can fly like he's a bird. It's a slam dunk contest that got me on board. I mean, that's why I love the Jordan Bulls because I'm a big slam dunk contest guy. Right. And I think a lot of kids were like that.
I guess the point I was trying to make there is if Jordan was existing today, do we have this universal love for him? Like the stories about him punching teammates in the face like Steve Kerr and just kind of being awful to like, who is it? Not Scott Brooks.
Steve Kerr. I mean,
Anyway, just like him being like these rookie hazing type of things and all of that, would that be received in a different way today? Today, it's like he's the ultimate winner, and then Kobe Bryant emulated it as well.
Yeah, there was all that. But I mean, if he had done, nobody does a dunk contest anymore. If, say, LeBron, if there was a guy who came up and won 2 dunk contests over Dominique Wilkins, like I think we would appreciate it. If a guy was doing 360s in games, I think we would overlook some of that. I don't know. I think there are a lot of people just like talent. But the one thing about Mahomes isn't playing like that anymore at all. Like, did you see him do a no-look pass or anything? Where was the trick plays? Now they just throw 5-yard passes.
I think Perloff, that's it. I really feel like one of the big things is Mahomes was very likable initially, and the Chiefs were likable because they were the greatest show on grass.
Slinging it,
They were throwing 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns. We were seeing things we've never seen before. I think when you watch them play, they look like the Patriots.
Yeah.
They play the same way. They're going to grind you out. They're going to dink and dunk you up the field. It's not that appealing really to watch. Unless they're playing the Bills or the Bengals, these games aren't really all that entertaining or exciting.
And you know what the worst thing is? The Bills are watching them and trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
The Bills and Maggie actually was one of the leading components of like, stop being exciting, win some football games.
Well, stop being risky. Be a little more risk averse.
Yeah, I know. But as a fan, you want to see risky. Throw that deep ball. Josh has got a cannon. Why isn't he throwing it deep?
To who?
Great point.
Fair.
He did throw it to Mac Hollins and Khalil Shakir and back at the end zone to Curtis Samuel. By the way, these are guys who any team in the NFL could have had.
Well, it is amazing. This is his best year. He threw for 700 less yards this year. Patrick Mahomes' stats are just bad now. I don't know what happened to him. It is interesting. I mean, Lamar Jackson is actually the only exciting guy left. And they can't win.
We killed him because he dared to have 2 turnovers in the first half of the playoff
Patrick
game.
Mahomes he played all the games. He had 3,900 passing yards, 26 touchdowns. That dude had 50 touchdowns and 4,800 yards coming out of bed. Anyway, there's just so many different reasons. I just am hearing too many different reasons. We got to have one. People have to decide, why do we hate the Chiefs, and stick with it.
I've got another question for you. What's going to happen over the next 2 weeks before we get to this game? Because as I said, Eagles not likable either.
Yeah, well, Saquon I think is likable. I think Saquon cuts through some of the Eagles' hatred. Am I crazy? He is a charming interview. Charming young man with big thighs.
Thick thighs.
Wow, what a compliment.
Nobody dislikes Saquon. How could you dislike Saquon? I mean, maybe Giants fans, but even they, I don't think dislike Saquon. The guy's like he's like a 100 approval rating guy.
Yeah, but this is not about Barkley. It's about all the years pent up of anti-Philly. Like one person alone
can't
unravel all of that. Like, I didn't like Philly, but I respect Brian Dawkins. It doesn't mean I'm all of a sudden going to be this big Eagles fan. Like, one singular player can't cut through the broader Philly, just whatever you guys are doing.
Yeah, no, it's hard to embrace the Eagles. Yeah, that's the thing with some of these Northeastern teams. They have such parochial fan bases. It's hard to get aboard. But Kansas City's in the middle of the country. I feel like everybody should join. Again, still a little mystified. They do seem to have so many likable ingredients. You know,
I don't think so. 855-212-4227.
Would you be happy if Patrick Mahomes came out and threw the ball 60 times on Super Bowl Sunday? Would you like them then? I would. That'd be amazing.
You'd like them. You'd start rooting for them to beat your team. That's how much of a bandwagon.
No. I mean, we get partial credit because Andy Reid gets the ring. So.
Yeah, sure. 855-212-4227. See you guys on the phones, Chiefs, and how unlikable they are. If you'll permit me, coming up next, I heard the last thing that I wanted to hear from my Bills. And then we'll let the Bills die for a little bit and they can go lick their wounds somewhere else. But I didn't want to hear this. And I heard it. I didn't like it. Dive into that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back on Maggie and Perloff. Why do you hate the Chiefs? Everybody's got a different reason. It's like, I guess it's like the definition, Supreme Court definition of pornography. You know it when you see it. I just love the fact that,
ironically, that's the one thing that the Chiefs don't have good. There's no porn scandals, as far as we know.
Everyone keeps saying, Perloff, isn't it obvious why everyone hates the Chiefs? Because of this reason. And it's a different reason every time. God, it's all of a sudden like they are the most evil team to ever step on lights. It's the Kansas City Chiefs, this lovable little team from Kansas City. We were in Kansas City, Maggie. Those are excellent people. It's a wonderful town. And the funny thing is, too, like Big Dave hates Travis Kelce. Listen to New Heights. Travis Kelce is salt of the earth. Salt of the earth. He is one of the most, actually, the funny thing is he's so cocky. Like, as a person, he's like such a nice Cleveland guy. Like, for years, everyone liked Travis Kelce. And now he's up there. Yeah, he gets up and he's a pro wrestler. Which he probably will be, by the way. I don't know. Whatever. It's very strange to me how everyone hates the Chiefs. But I'm down with it because I'm an Eagles fan.
You jabroni! What did Big Dave say, though, the warden who called us earlier? What did he say about Kelce?
He wants to pull him into an alley and punch him.
He did say that, which I pray for Dave that never goes down.
Oh, I don't know. Dave sounds tough to me.
Former warden. But he said elitist. See, that's the thing.
That's so funny about Travis Kelce.
I think they are Cleveland guys, but not really anymore. I think now you're dating the most famous pop star on earth. She's all there up in the booth with all the other famous people. I mean, think about the Super Bowl last year. Who was it? It was like her and Blake Lively and Sexy Red.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's Ryan. Who's she married to? Not Gosling. Oh gosh.
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. Thank you. Deadpool. And Hugh Jackman, these are not relatable people. We might like them, or you don't.
Okay, now you're getting somewhere.
He's not relatable anymore, maybe.
But I'm telling you, as a person in reality, Travis Kelce is certainly.
Listen,
he is as Cleveland as they come. Like, he's really in touch with his roots in reality.
That's fine. And that's fine. But he also wanted this fame thing so badly.
Yeah.
And it felt kind of thirsty, to be frank.
He had this team around him who got him all these gigs.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people probably didn't read that Wall Street Journal article, but they're getting the gist of it, which is he's got a team behind him and he wants this fame thing more than anything. And I'm kind of curious now, like, now that you have it, is it everything it was cracked up to be? Basically, you're getting followed everywhere. You got the crazy Swifties. If you ever break up with Taylor, they're probably going to come for your head. So I don't know. It just feels a little manufactured.
But you hear him on New Heights, and you can't help but like the Kelceys. I know there's a backlash because of visibility, but listen to the podcast. They're like, oh, yeah, I would hang with those guys. Why not?
Eric's in Boise. Eric, what's up?
Hey, so just making, with the social media era, the more that you know about people, the more you're either going to like them or dislike them.
Yep.
And, that's just the way it is. I mean, luckily we didn't get that with Jordan and the Bulls. We didn't have that. We didn't have with the 49ers or whomever before. We didn't have any of that, luckily. But, when it comes to the Chiefs, Jordan hit the game-winning shot. The Chiefs, they get the game-winning flag. That's why no one likes it.
Oh, wait
That's
a minute,
not
though.
true, Eric.
That's not what happened in the Super Bowl last year. That's not
2 years ago. It's
or the other team doesn't get the flag. One of the two.
Listen, I still have a pretty open wound right now about what happened in the AFC Championship game and that 4th and 1 call. So I'm with you on calls, but I think we can't say that the refs hand it to them all the time. The James Bradbury holding, Perloff, even you thought that was not a bad call.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get your finger caught in a jersey because that's what the officials can see it. And everybody would have called that probably.
The Super Bowl last year, I mean, they won it in overtime. They went down. I don't remember a controversial call in that overtime, just Kyle Shanahan's controversial decisions.
Yeah, and the fact that they left a blocker was a Kivitz on an island, that was a bad idea. Yeah, I understand what he's saying because the calls is an issue. I understand these things alone, but is that the Chiefs' fault that the officials helped them? Do you blame? I guess it is, but they're not doing it. They're just like, would you not take calls if you were a player?
Well, you would, but people get really upset with Josh Allen because he begs for calls, and people don't like that Patrick Mahomes begs for calls.
Every great player ever, Tom Brady's begged for more calls. Nobody begged for, and in the NBA, you don't think Jordan was asking for calls left and right? He's probably having a nonstop dialogue with the officials to call every single thing. And guess what? He got every call, times 1,000, because he was Michael Jordan.
Yeah, his most famous game winner is
a
push-off.
Yeah, well... That's a great debate for another day.
Andrew Bogusch has headlines. Hey, Bogusch.
Guys, as we discussed yesterday, us men have so much to do when it comes to weddings and childbirth.
Damn right.
But Maggie, you ladies are involved too. We know that. Tennessee women's basketball coach Kim Caldwell coached against number 2 South Carolina yesterday, a week after having her son. 12,000 fans gave Caldwell a standing ovation when she took the court.
I definitely wasn't expecting it. I try to sneak in. That's why I sneak in the back. Always try to go unnoticed. But it made it worth it. It made coming back worth it.
Dawn Staley was impressed.
Women have the strength of 10 men. No doubt about it. She wanted to be here with her team. So, I mean, women have to make decisions like that. And when they do, I feel like other women should honor them and let them know that we see you, we feel you, we hear you.
Staley in South Carolina got the win eventually, 70-63.
Your hands went immediately to your face.
I did.
Maggie.
Listen, this is feminism, right? She can make her own choices and she can do what she wants to do. And I commend her for doing that. I just know my own personal experience, there's a possibility you will regret that. It's possible, and then you live with your regrets. But feeling like you have to come back to work so soon is definitely a real thing that women feel. And, I feel bad, but at the same time, she should be able to make that choice.
Even Dawn Staley said, I don't know that I could have been away from my newborns that early last night. It's a personal thing, and it's crazy. Like, I'm saying this not to be like, I was exhausted a week after and I did nothing. Like, I don't know how you would get yourself dressed as a new mom to go anywhere and stand on the sideline and yell at referees and players for 2.5 hours.
That was Andrew Bogusch, not Andrew Perloff, saying that.
You
If
guys
my
are- no,
wife was
but-
listening, that was Bogusch.
Yeah, you guys are nuts. It's amazing.
No, I never said. I never tried to compare myself in the fatigue.
No, that wasn't yesterday. I think you said you were in tears.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, I Bogusch, like, I'm not comparing myself in any way. Then just stop there. That's what you should stop.
No, I didn't do anything, and it was taxing. Like, I've slept through things. My wife woke up all the time. Like, you guys, I don't understand it. I don't understand how you can do anything other than that.
Yeah, I mean, the choice is what women are fighting for, right? That's it. And so you got to respect when women want to make that choice. But I can speak from personal experience. There are regrets there when you feel like you have to go back to work so soon.
On a much lighter
That got
note,
dark.
some NBA games
Yay, sports.
feature
Sports
only
is awesome.
one team trying. That's how we get Knicks 143, the Grizzlies 106.
Go Bockers.
But a few games are actually competitions, which gets us endings like this.
Another rebound for Van Vliet. To Amen Thompson. Down the lane. Euro step for the win. He got it with 0.7 of a second.
Craig Ackerman on Rockets Radio, Houston winning 114-112 in Boston, courtesy of Amen Thompson, who appreciates the confidence of head coach Ime Udoka.
He just drew up the plan. I was like, oh, I'll take this.
Thompson scored 33. His Rockets have now won 9 of 11. Klay Thompson, 7 first-quarter threes in the Mavs' 130-108 decision over the Wizards. Anthony Davis had 42 points, 23 rebounds in the Lakers' 112-107 win in Charlotte, and the Suns held off the Clippers 111-109. Men's college hoops, Cooper Flagg scored 28 in number 2 Duke, 74-64 home win over NC State. Third-ranked Iowa State losing at Arizona 86-75 in overtime. They should have won in regulation, but Caleb Love hit a desperation 3 from the backcourt at the buzzer. And finally, before pitchers and catchers report to spring training next month, we got Game 7 of the Dominican Winter League Final last night. Leones del Escogido and Tigres del Licey tied at 5, top 9, Manny.
Líder en juego salvado de todos los tiempos. Duro por el center field. No. I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
Junior Camanero's tie-breaking 450-foot homer was so stunning it made that guy speak in tongues.
Switch back to English.
He switched back to English.
Wait, Manny, is that like a... What do you think about that? Switching back to English.
Hey, I'm not going to lie. In the last game that I called, a Dominican basketball player, he had an and one, and I started speaking in Spanish. It just came naturally to me.
I like that, though. That could be like your signature thing.
It only applies to a certain demographic. But, I mean, it was just absolutely... I thought this call was hysterical. Sounds like my mom trying to speak to me.
You said your mom kind of goes in between the Spanish and English. That's why.
It's exhausting trying to figure out what language she's trying to speak to me.
So we have the call, and then the actual trip around the bases from this guy was roughly 3 minutes. There was like a dance party, pep rally up the first base line. He came to a full stop at third base to hug his coach, and then did like the slow stomp down to home plate. And the game wasn't over.
I was going to say,
It was
this
the top
wasn't
of
a
the ninth.
walk-off.
No, they won because of it, but it took about 7 minutes to actually have a home run.
This is how baseball should be played.
I agree.
This is fun. This is exciting.
You hit a home run in that scenario, even if it's not a walk-off, it's a top of the ninth, you get to do the moonwalk to first, cabbage patch to second, the Dougie to third, and cartwheels home.
Yeah. Aside from snapping your bat over your knee and stabbing the catcher with one of the shards, you can do whatever you want.
I don't know, man. I think we should leave the door open for anything. I don't know why.
You want violence.
I got a bloodlust that only comes out.
I haven't had a Filipowski run over by a fan in a while, so I need something.
I need to see something bloody. Yeah. I witnessed something bloody on Sunday. Carnage.
Where did that come from?
I have no idea.
Either.
In the system. Can I get the pronunciations of those teams again, please, Bogey?
Yeah. Leones del Escogido and Tigres del Licey.
Muy bien, Andres. Muy bien.
Gracias.
Okay, Manny, now you say it.
Leones del Escogido against los Tigres del Licey.
Sounds better with Manny saying it.
As it should.
Not surprising there.
Maybe next time if we're doing Dominican winter highlights, which I feel like we actually kind of missed the boat because Game 7 was yesterday.
Yeah, next year.
Maybe we just pause and like insert Manny for all the Latin names.
Well, don't you worry, because the Charros de Jalisco, they have their Game 7 in the Mexican Winter League. Winner of that game, or hopefully the Charros de Jalisco, will go to the Caribbean Series, which is being held in Mexicali this year.
Why is everything going to Game 7? Is this league rigged?
Sports is just
Parody,
awesome.
baby.
Yeah.
Salary Cap Sport, that Dominican Winter League. They set it up that way.
Good revenue sharing in the Dominican League, like parody everywhere.
First time we'll have a Japanese team in the Caribbean League this year as well.
That's fire.
What are you writing a blog on this stuff?
Maybe.
Wait. There's a Japanese team playing in the Caribbean League? This is like Stanford being in the ACC.
Yeah, they got a little invite. It reminds me a couple of years ago when there was a soccer tournament of North American teams going on over here, and they invited like Qatar.
I remember that.
Yeah, you remember
I
that in
wonder
the
if
Gold
any
Cup?
cash changed hands for that one.
That was a World Cup tie-in, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but did Qatar really need to play in the? Did they really need to play in the Gold Cup?
No, I think what it was like they didn't have a team and they didn't have to qualify because they were the host. So they were like looking for places to play to get ready for the World Cup. And I think we were being nice.
North America, yay!
That's what we're known for, being nice.
Yeah. That's the message we're sending out to the world. How's the Mexican Women's Hockey League going?
I don't think they have a league. I think it's just a conglomerate of Mexican descendant women who just kind of get together on a piece of ice in like Finland.
It's a rec league?
More, I mean, I would
they
imagine.
got uniforms?
I can't imagine anybody paying for a piece of ice in Mexico City.
I thought this was a real league. This sounds like the New York City Quidditch.
No, they don't have a league.
Playing at Chelsea Piers?
No, they don't. It seems like it. They don't have a league. They just have a national team.
Okay.
Yeah. They just barnstorm all over the country.
Yeah, literally. I follow some of the players on Instagram, and like they'll be in Finland in 1 week, and then in Sweden the other week, and then in Puerto Vallarta the next.
Only some of the players? What's your selection
Which
process
of those things
like?
is not like the other?
They should do
no
an
comment.
Olympics where just countries that aren't used to playing in certain elements have to play in those elements.
Oh, like Jamaican bobsled team?
Yes. So
Yeah.
like Winter Olympics, but only Southern Hemisphere, tropical type.
Let me tell you
countries.
something. There was this one guy in the Winter Olympics, the last Winter Olympics, who is like born in the Netherlands but has a Mexican passport, and he was a cross country skier and he finished in dead last. But you know what? Go him. I don't even remember what his name is. And I also do believe
Your hero.
I also do believe that he's like a multi-billionaire in Mexico as well.
And he just decided to take up cross country skiing.
Literally, yes. He was like, I'm going to get a Mexican passport and do cross country skiing.
Like I want to find the best Alaskan surfer. Like put them in the surfing competition.
Wait, we got two different ideas going on right here. We got EJ's idea for the Bizarro Olympics, where only people from warm weather climates can compete in winter.
We're just
in winter,
opposite.
summer.
Yeah, I like it.
That's $1 million idea right there. And then Manny calling out billionaires for cutting corners, getting citizenship in countries they probably don't belong to, and competing in the Olympics.
I would love to see Jeff Bezos get a, Irani passport or something and just compete in downhill skiing or something.
You guys know we're still on the air, right? Is anyone aware of this? Like, this show is going out. I lost track of whatever was going on about 5 minutes. I feel like the old guy at the dinner table.
Yeah.
What the heck are you guys talking about? How did we get from Dominican baseball to what you just said?
Well, let's be honest. Perloff not paying attention to the show is pretty par for the course. Bogusch is sitting in here after all. That's when he tunes out. I think EJ's got a good idea. That could be pretty funny, like for the Ocho.
This is way better than that steroid Olympics that they were trying to do.
Yes.
This is real fun.
Yeah.
If I had money, I'd give you some for that idea.
Thank you, sir. Let's give Bogus a bonus so I can get some bread. Start this thing.
You just got to hit up that Finland billionaire who's posing as a Mexican.
Dutch, but yeah.
I'm sorry. Did you say Dutch?
I think so.
Okay. Let's get to break. Reset. Perloff can go crawl into a hole. And we've got a dilemma for you, a sports dilemma that we need your help solving. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Yeah. Down in Music City, there's a man named Jay. He's tuned in to Maggie and Perloff every single day. Life's been a battle, he's been losing for years, but now his motto's clear. No more losing tears. He's been down, he's been low, but now he's ready for a brand new show. Jay's got questions, can't let it slide. Who's running to YouTube on the infinity side? Jay and Nashville, calling out the crew. Who's behind the curtain? He demands the truth. Peter Bummelotti's ghosting, no work in sight. But Jay's got the Maggie and Perloff show to make it right. Make it right. Been a loser so long, my losing's all gone. Tapped out my bad luck, it's time to move on. From his couch in Nashville, he's solving the case. Infinity's mystery, he's all over the place. He's got theories, he's got plans. Is it Moose or Perloff behind the cams? And Bellotti, forget it, he's MIA. Jay's the one who's showing up today. Jay in Nashville, calling out the crew. Who's behind the curtain? He demands the truth. Peter Bummelotti's ghosting, no work in sight. But Jay's got the Maggie and Perloff show to make it right. Make it right. Jay's turning his luck, rising up the ranks. Infinity answers, he's storming the banks. Bellotti might miss it, but Jay's always there with a sharp-eye question and a comfy chair. Jay in Nashville, calling out the crew. Who's behind the curtain? He demands the truth. Peter Bummelotti's ghosting, no work in sight. But Jay's got the Maggie and Perloff show to make it right. Jay in Nashville, he's taking the stage. From loser to legend, he's turning the page. Infinity's mystery, Bellotti's no show. Jay's the real MVP of the Maggie and Perloff show.
Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Thank you, everyone, for asking how I'm feeling today. Psych, nobody asked. You guys moved on very quickly. Not me, unfortunately. I still have to wallow.
Yeah, no, I guess we all assumed that you were, you had a mechanism for this. You were used to this.
Yeah.
You have a process.
I do. I'm at the numbness, I think, is where I'm at. I was really convincing myself yesterday that this is not even on the Mount Rushmore of bad Bills losses.
Probably not, right? What? Give real quick. I know we're running out of time. Top ahead, Mount Rushmore, Bills losses.
I thought about this a lot yesterday, actually. So Scott Norwood, the wide right, is without a doubt. That's the George Washington of the whole thing.
Of course.
I think you got to put the 2 more Super Bowl losses. I think you put the Washington loss up there as well. And I think you put the first Cowboys loss up there.
No. I'm not going to tell you which to put up there, but there's a bunch of games with nicknames.
Right, but you're right. But I started thinking about it. Music City Miracle, it's a wild card first-round playoff game.
It's a pretty famous way to lose a football game.
You think? We're still talking about it 25 years later. So, I'm aware that it's famous. I think that, to be honest, and maybe this is a personal opinion, the loss to the Bengals at home was devastating. And now that was a really crazy year because the Damar Hamlin situation had happened. There was a lot of really unfortunate weather things where the fan base got really affected. There was the horrible incident at the grocery store where people lost lives. I mean, just terrible stuff.
But you would have lost to the Chiefs in the next game anyway, so what's the difference?
Well, thanks, Pearl. But being at home and losing to the Bengals in that way was really, really tough.
But
that
was
tough.
wait.
And the 13 seconds game. 13 seconds game has to be on the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah,
so I don't think that this game really makes it on.
No. I'm speaking for you, by the way, sorry. But it's got to be Scott Norwood and 13 seconds. Those are the 13 seconds has to be, because the Super Bowl losses to the Washington team and Dallas teams, like, you got killed. That doesn't hurt like 13 seconds. I mean, that's an all-time loss.
Yeah, and it was the divisional round, so I think divisional round and beyond counts. You know what I'm saying? Like, wild card round just doesn't seem like, I don't know. You can't get that upset about wild card round, can you? That's what the Music City Miracle was.
It's just this idea of a victory being snatched away from you. Gosh, that's pretty good. Pretty good. But you're right. Actually, I don't even think it makes top 6 the way you describe it.
And so there's really just
last year's was tougher, wasn't it? The Gabe Davis game?
No, that was 13 seconds.
Oh,
Gabe
okay.
Davis.
Oh, sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. What was last year?
Last year was
the interception in the end zone.
The interception in the end zone, and then Tyler Bass missed a 48-yarder that would have tied the game.
Sorry.
Thank you. The home losses are terrible. But, last year's team also for the Bills was coasting on fumes. They had to win 5 games in a row just to make the playoffs. That team was exhausted.
Do you go into recovery mode? Like, how am I going to fix this? How am I going to change the trajectory of my team?
Many conversations yesterday.
Okay, so you're getting to work. That's
with
good.
The Bills' brethren.
Yeah.
Talking about what they should do with their first-round picks.
There you go.
Corner, wide receiver.
I like it. Moving ahead.
Solution-based. But I was a little disappointed. Not that I expected anything differently, but the full throttle, full defense of Sean McDermott was kind of hard to hear. Because, I get it. You go to the AFC Championship game, you're not firing your coach. We're talking about Marty Schottenheimer and the legendary Marty Schottenheimer and his son Brian now taking over the Dallas Cowboys. Marty Schottenheimer won 14 games and got fired. And that made no sense at the time. He didn't deserve to be fired. And Sean McDermott's not going anywhere.
Well, the Eagles last year were terrible on defense, drafted Quinyon Mitchell in the 20s and Cooper DeJean in the second round. Get 2 quarterbacks. Draft 2 quarterbacks, Mag.
I mean, that's step 1.
There's a lot of hard work ahead. You got to make some really smart draft picks.
Me.
You
better start grinding film.
Yeah, I hope you're down Shrine Bowl, Senior Bowl, looking at safeties, cornerbacks. You got to get that coverage rate up.
Don't I know it? But again, I'm doing fine, everybody. So
I like that I'm so glad to hear that you're already looking ahead to how you're going to fix this. Don't wallow in the loss. It happened. Samaje Perine got the first down. It's over.
Thank you.
It's time to focus on next year.
Do we have to go through the details? It doesn't have to be the tick-tock.
Yeah, I mean, one official said it was a first down. One said it wasn't.
Blasphemy.
The blitz came in from the right. Allen didn't see it in the first cadence.
That is true.
Which was kind of a cool line. I didn't even know that's how it worked. But
would you like to talk about the catcher interception? Cole Bishop, Xavier Worthy? You forgot about that one.
Well, it was going to be a first down anyway on a defensive holding. By the way, the Eagles are about to lose to the Chiefs. I feel like I don't have nearly as much on the line. I got my ring. We probably shouldn't even be at this point.
Just wait.
It's going to be heartbreaking. I was wondering about that. Is it going to hurt to lose this game to the Chiefs in dramatic fashion?
Yes.
You blamed the Heat last time. Is it going to be, what, the gumbo this time in New Orleans?
I mean, like, I didn't think the Eagles were going to be here. I don't even think Nick Sirianni thought the Eagles were going to be here.
Does Nick Sirianni even know you are there? We always wonder about that guy. Thank you, EJ Stewart. Thank you to Manny Rodriguez, Andrew Bogusch, Andrew Kaplan, Weedos, Coffee Drinkers. Catch you tomorrow.
Duval.
You're in a 5-minute